It's time for Type 40 Live, your live streamed Doctor Who show, materializing here again on the Spacebook channel, whatever time zone or time stream you're joining us from. Welcome. Yes, this is Type 40 Live, hitting your screen, whatever size it is, in real time for content and conversation here on YouTube and Facebook, in front of a live chat full of friends, fans, and companions like you. And now we're in podcast form too, of course. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hold tight. There's lots to get into. It's been a few weeks. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. And whoever you are, we'll find out in a moment. It's good to see the live chat filling up. Go on, keep it coming. And don't forget, yes, please hit the like now. You're going to be having far too much fun. You're going to be getting far too involved in this discussion later on. To remember to do it now. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting us over the last couple of weeks as the channel hit a big milestone. We do appreciate all that, but keep it coming. More subscribers, please. Subscribe to the channel and hit the cloister bell so you get the notifications about what's going on next, podcast live streams on Doctor Who or anything else here on the Spacebook channel. And there's one more thing. One more thing. Yeah, people watching on Facebook. We are live streaming over to YouTube and Facebook to the Type 40 Facebook group and Facebook page. Hello, everybody there. Now, we want everybody to have their say, if they can, in the live comment section about up-to-the-minute Doctor Who talk. But if you are on Facebook, you've got to hit that little blue link that says StreamYard, and that's how Facebook can find out who you are. It can tell StreamYard who you are. StreamYard can tell us. And we'll all get on first name terms and find out what one another thinks. It's all a lot cozier here in Type 40. It's where the world of Doctor Who, the Whoniverse, in fact, meets good old-fashioned common sense. You can't say fairer than that, can you? There's a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. And yeah, we are staring at, in a few weeks' time, aren't we, at the end of an era. Some are probably more excited about that than others. We'll find out as we get into it what the panel think, what you think. First of all, let's bring her on. It's back on the show, as always, Queen Charlotte Shields. Welcome back, Charlotte.
Hello, everybody. It's nice. Obviously, last week we were, out of respect, we weren't here, but it's nice to be back this week.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a shock last week, wasn't it? You know, and obviously we did.
Oh, yeah, I can tell people. I had a good cry when the news broke. So yeah, a lot of in the UK. It's been a bit of an odd time in the UK. I think that's a fair word for it. It's
been somber, hasn't it? It's been somber.
Yeah.
And not only has the mood changed, but the weather has too. I can see you've broken out the winter woolies there. I can see a cuff.
Oh yeah.
Knitted cuff.
Proper jumper today.
Yes, it's me and Sherlock. We're like that. detect anything. Detect anything. And I also detect we have a mega geek in the house. Yes, it's Mr. Ian David Dears, the writer, the producer, and director, whose film is just hit Netflix. Welcome back, Ian.
Hello.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, I'm all right. Just collating. Just working. Basically, I'm just knackered as always, but I'm here. So there you go.
Too tired to even put your cap on. How about
too tired to put my freaking light on as well. There we go.
I was going to say it's dark.
Yeah, I know.
Oh no! Turn it back off again. It's good to have you back, mate. Because I know I think it's been a few weeks. I don't think you were on the last show either. We've got a few absences of some of the regulars this time. So hello to Sarah, who I know she's been quite ill. So if you are watching, Sarah, get well soon. We've been thinking of you. And little Lenny Horton as well, Simon's little dog. He's not very well either. So we wish both Sarah and Lenny a speedy recovery. And we're thinking of you. But we have got some more voices to bring on to. So first of all, you remember him. He is a filmmaker. He's a prop builder. He's an artist. He's a performer, and he's quite masterly. It's the return of the incredibly popular and annoyingly talented Mr. Terry Cooper.
Hello, everyone. How are you?
I don't know why I can't compete with an
introduction like that, man. Goodness sake.
Very dark in your room, Terry.
It is. I haven't got the big light on because we're living in a time of great austerity, so I'm sticking with a ring light tonight.
Well, we are here in the console room, so we are lit by a console as always, and this one is courtesy of.
Oh wow!
I know.
I could eat that.
I could eat that.
That's making me hungry now.
this console room comes to us from our friend Shah from Geek Rambles, who can't make it to. Oh no, she can. She's here.
She's in the
She's
chat.
here.
I was gonna
She's
say,
here. We've got her. So
I told
welcome
her.
back. Welcome back, Shah.
Oh, she's spinning.
Where are you?
Realizing
She's taken one look at the beans and the snags, and she's off. She's gone.
she's gone off down the shop.
Maybe
Yes,
she hasn't got a. Oh no, that's not bad. I was going to give her a call.
I'm sure. Yeah, because we don't actually know where Shah is. She's out on a secret mission somewhere. Not just taking gorgeous pictures like this, but doing heaven knows what. But we've also got, yes, fresh from her triumph, discussing things with me this week on our other show, on the Spacebook Live. We've got from all the way from LDN. It's Andy, the Atomic Blonde, making her Type 40 Live debut. Welcome back, Andy.
Hello. Yeah, pulling in the subs from the sub bench. I'm here, ready to talk Doctor Who. So let's do it.
We spoke to you on Type 40 Extra a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yes.
So we had a little bit of a tease about where you sit with Doctor Who. I'm sure we're going to find out more about that, about you and the Time Lord and time and space as the show goes along. Lots to get into. But first of all, as regards your appetites, what do you reckon of this? Could you wolf that down?
See, I'm not a baked beans fan, but I could eat the sausages and the egg very happily. I do
It's
like
the way
a
around with
proper
me.
breakfast with that in.
Can't do beans.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Don't agree with me. I will leave it at that.
Oops, say no more. Say. Now, see, I'm fine with the beans, Terry, and the egg too. But I'm a vegetarian, so I'd have to test the sausages out. I'd have to test the pylons out there.
Eggs. Anything with eggs, I'll eat. I love eggs. It's my favourite food. Definitely.
I'm very
a cup of tea.
very very picky with the old fried egg. If they got crispy bits around the edge, you can forget it. I'll throw up. But otherwise, it's a nice greasy egg. I don't mind, but it's crispy.
Yeah, I just love eggs.
I like that. I quite like that. Do they do egg flavoured cornettos, Ian? Do we know?
They do. I have some in my fridge.
Are you in Scotland by any chance?
That'd be JT.
He does a very good
Ian's
impression
not
of
in
the
Scotland.
fan now, but don't you, Ian?
Okay, well that's all of us. That's all of us settled in. Almost. I'm sure Shah will be back.
She
hopefully
will.
when the
She
stars
said
align
she had a
little
power
while.
cut.
Oh,
Just
I
as you
see.
introduced her, the whole power cut.
Dear, oh dear.
So hopefully she's
Anybody?
flipping the switch.
It's the little people. They've come. The little green people come to abduct her. Let's go and check who's in the chat. See who's joined us this time. It's Lord Thoth's here first, I think. Oh no, he isn't. Lord Thoth is there with a hi everyone, but so is there. You go. All is right with the universe as long as Crimpling the Balloon is there to say ahoy shipmates. That's my one rule of thumb on this show, Andy. That's how we know it's good to go. Richard Brooks says, I've been cleaning whiteboards with WD-40 today. Just one of the many and multitudinous things I do at work. How's your day been? Oh, so they're catching up with. I thought he was asking us. Yeah, well, not too bad. Thanks, Richard. Thanks for asking anyway. Good to see you, mate. A shiver me timbers. We've got the Darren Zone here too with an evening or hello, the Darren Zone. How's the weather in the Darren Zone tonight? Let us know. Good stuff. Good to see you. Who else is here? Well, Richard Brooks also says that one of my students met Jodie. That's Jodie Whittaker, I think that must mean. And she was really nice to him. I hate the portrayal of the Doctor, but Jodie is a human being as well. Well, so they say, and I wish her well. Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? Of course, you can separate the art from the artist. That's what we always say, and we don't just say that glibly. We do
separate the artist from whatever, because it wasn't.
Never met Jodie Whittaker. Good evening, all. Says Wendology from the Department of Wendology. She's always watching. Always there, always watching, always waiting. Never let your guard down. Garbage says, hello, chat. Hello, one of all. Well done, Mega Geek, on the movie being on Netflix. Well, as long as he makes a few quid off it, then he's all right, isn't he?
Yeah.
No comment.
But, just as a quick aside, getting a movie onto Netflix, getting a movie onto YouTube is difficult enough, but Netflix is worthy of a big round of applause, no matter whether you make a penny or $1 million quid.
Well, thank you, sir. I salute you. But
good people in that film. You got Claire Goose in that movie, haven't you? And the what's her name?
Late
Sarah Harding, yeah,
beautiful Sarah Harding, and Robbie G's in it as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Robbie G's in it. Yeah, good mate of mine. Really nice chap.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good, solid actors. Yeah, good stuff. One there from Geek Ramble. So we know she is around. Oh, we have her. We've got her. She's here. She can talk to herself now. I was saying, so Geek Rambles. Got a comment there from Geek Rambles. Have you got a reply to Geek Rambles comment in the chat there, Geek Ramble?
I am so sorry. Talk about timing. I heard you say my name and then the power just went poof.
They can't make you pay
Nowhere,
overinflated electric prices if you haven't got no
switch,
electric.
so it means that my ring light isn't working even now. So you get to see me in blue light, you lucky things. But hello, everyone. Nice to see you. I've kind of made it. I'm always late in some way, so it has to be like this. I'm
Say
sure.
no more.
Oh, and this is my brother's bedroom, so anything you find is not mine.
Get the disclaimers out the way first. We were just marveling at your console room here, Sean.
Oh God!
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people got it. I was fuming. I thought it was
What?
great.
They didn't get
think
it.
it was Stonehenge.
Yes, that's what I thought. Stonehenge at first, but yeah.
It's like a sacrificial altar for baby chickens.
Wasted. Oh, never mind.
A sacrificial altar for baby chickens, says Terry Cooper. Yeah, it is quite dark, isn't it? Yeah.
Got the steps though going up to the console with the sausages. That's quite cool. Yeah,
It has all my favourite things in it.
wonderful.
A TARDIS, a console room, and bangers and beans and all that good stuff. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
We've got a comment here from Stephanie Barrett. Hi, all from Australia. Are you going to get back to last week's topic? I was looking forward to it. Of course we are. Yeah, we'll be doing that in a couple of weeks. We've got a special guest lined up for that show who has a lot to say on that particular subject. Don't worry, it will be coming. A lot of people are desperate for us to have that conversation. I do understand why, but we want to make sure it's the right people that can tell you the right things and with a bit of insights. And if not some exclusive, well, maybe some exclusives. I don't know. It depends on how drunk I have to get Kenny before we can find out how much he knows or doesn't. Good evening, Dan, and all of the geeks, says Richard Brooks. And Tony L says, hi, everyone, and Team Type 40, I hope you're all well. Well, we are well, but I think some of us could be getting quite hungry staring at the old beans for too long there. But it does remind me of one of the most unlikely Doctor Who collectibles I've ever seen, which is this. This was listed up on eBay recently. So this is,
Wow.
I know, this is a box full of 24, Andy, you're not going to believe this, particularly with your disdain for beans. Yeah. So this is 24 cans of 45-year-old tins of baked beans from Cross and Blackwell here. It's easy for me to say.
I didn't know Cross and Blackwell make beans.
Well, yeah. Well,
They used to.
a school day.
Yeah.
This is up on the it was up on the auction site eBay. So these are completely unopened and probably, I'd say, certainly unedible. Somebody won the bid. I don't know how much they paid for them in the end, but this is probably the ultimate. It certainly has to be one of the heaviest Doctor Who collectibles. I'd say.
I can't help but imagine like some poor wife or partner who doesn't have a clue that their other half has ordered that. And like they open it and they're like, "What on earth have you bought on eBay?"
Yeah,
you would definitely
and throws it in the food bank thing. Look at that, I don't mind.
What's that saying? What's that scribbled on the top of the box?
That is pieces Royal Dalton White.
Okay.
So the box was used for something else.
Yeah, it does look like it. It does look like it.
I tell you what, though.
Cam's crash course. Is Cam's here, and so is Mark. The Illusions. Hello, Facebook and chat. Get well soon, starry-eyed girl. We couldn't agree more on that one. Keep the comments coming. Keep the well wishes coming as we work our way through this show and through more trivia and more nonsense. Yes. So from one load of old wind to another. We like to cover the merchandise on this show. We've got a lovely segment. We put a lot of the bits and bobs from the shows now. We put them out as segments. They can be very popular. So we've got the Doctor Who Diary. It's got its own segment on the YouTube channel, and so has Merchandise Paradise with the illustrious JT. But if you remember a little while ago, Charlotte, we covered the Doctor Who annual for 2023. Now, obviously, the annual, the clue's in the name. It comes out every year. We've all had them over the years. However old we are, somebody's bought us one at some point. It is a tome that endures probably probably more than the series does. They even put some out in the 90s. Now, there is one, it's just been published. This is, just to refresh your memories, this is the 2023 annual there. It does bear that artwork. So we've seen this artwork pretty much everywhere over the last couple of years, haven't we, Shah? Are you sick of seeing this yet?
Oh my God, yes. I don't want to see it anymore. I do not want to see that artwork anymore. It's just the one thing that drives me mad. I just want to see something new. That would be great. I don't think it's that much to ask either. So that would be lovely.
You do think for the 60th they would have done it? If any other year they were going to finally do different portraits, it would have been the 60th.
Do you not think though? Is it a case of it's just a little bit lazy, or is it that they're just making the most of what they've got?
Is this the artwork for the postage stamps?
It was the artwork initially for a couple of years ago. They had a big expo event. I can't remember where it was exactly, but they made a big deal of the fact that they'd got huge specially commissioned artwork for the classic Doctors, everybody up to Whittaker.
So why is
they've recently
added
State
Doctor on
they've recently added Joe Martin's Doctor to it. You're quite right. Well spotted, that man. Well spotted. Well, this is, I mean, Shah said, wouldn't it be nice to see something new? as I have to say all too often on this show, be careful what you wish for, because this annual is available now, and I saw some spreads from it, and I thought, it's nice to have a look inside these things before you buy. And sure enough, because it's the 60th anniversary, Andy, you'd like to think it would stand as a statement on the whole of Doctor Who across. I think these things are about 90 pages now. They get slimmer and slimmer, don't they, annuals? If you notice, you'd like to think in the anniversary year it should make a statement about the whole thing, wouldn't you think?
Well, I would thought all the Doctors and all their companions. And then sort of backstories, that kind of thing. So it's almost like an encyclopedia of the last 60 years. That's what I'd
exactly.
Expect.
I was delighted to see this. Quite beautifully designed little spread there. The complete history of the Doctor, and we've got the escape from Gallifrey and an earthly child of the first and the second and the third Doctors there. And it's all quite beautifully done. I think I was really quite taken with that. And this is a picture that was. Thanks to Richard Walter, who snapped this and sent it to me. So we've got this spread here. I thought, this is okay. And then I looked again. I thought, hang on. It says, what's that say under complete history? Part two. What's going on? Now, when you say you want something new, surely this is part one, right? No. They've only gone and done it. Part one is now The Great Escape, The Timeless Child, Tectoween. Your friend, the Council Estate Doctor's there, and so is the fellow who looks like Bungalow out of Rainbow. He's there too. And this officially, because this is officially licensed merchandise, The Complete History of the Doctor, we now have this installed heresy in a licensed title here, and for the anniversary year, supplanting William Hartnell's Doctor as Chapter 1, which to me is incredibly distasteful. And whilst I will be adding this to my collection, I'm a bit pissed off. Terry, what do you think about all this stuff? Because you're a creative as well. It's one thing we don't begrudge people their creative endeavours, do we? But this, in my view, this is cultural vandalism, and to put it in the book like this, before you get to Hartnell and Trent and everybody else, I think it's a bit beyond the pale, quite frankly.
Well, as a freelance self-employed artist, I can see both sides of this. As a Doctor Who fan, I'm like, really? But if they came up to me and said, look, we're doing this complete history and you have to do part one being the Timeless Child and all that shite, I would do it because that's my job, unfortunately. People will hate it. And some people will love it. Unfortunately, with Doctor Who, it's like anything. As soon as it gets thrown into canon, Marvel are doing it, everyone else is doing it. No matter how preposterous something is, if it's out there and thrown into canon, it's part of canon, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, I'm in two minds. It's great that they had part two, but I don't know about this Timeless Child. It should have just remained a very vague theory or something. I don't know. The thing that bugs me most about the Timeless Child is the fact that Tectayun murdered the child many times just to discover the secret of regeneration, which is really distasteful.
I don't think it sits well with anybody, and I think, of course, the fact that they wasted an actress like Barbara Flynn in this sort of cut-price Judi Dench capacity there. It's almost unforgivable. I just don't like this at all. And obviously, we've got a retailer in the chat again. This is Keith Bradbury, who says, as a retailer, I'm sick of retro woke tomfoolery. Because obviously, as a retailer, Keith, I don't want to speak for you, my friend. I have to get you on the show and tell us about it. But he wants to shift as many units of this thing as possible, because it should be a seller. This certainly to people like us, even if the kids have tuned out, certainly to people like us, like me, I own every one of these things. And yet the idea of paying good money for this thing, quite frankly, makes my piss boil. Have you ever bought the annuals over the years, Shah? Did you have them bought for you? Is this like a stocking filler? Do you have a stash of these? I know you're moving house at the moment.
I had one from about 5-6 years ago, which has unfortunately been lost in transit. But I mean, yeah, I suppose you do have to be careful what you wish for, don't you? I mean, the beauty sounds like I'm giving everything the benefit of the doubt, which I suppose I do a lot. But the beautiful thing about Doctor Who is that yes, something might be thrown into canon, but you can just erase it in your own head canon, so it's all fine. I don't need to see this, and I don't want to see it either. I feel like I shouldn't be forced to believe something that is, quite frankly, a bit shit. So when it comes to this, do whatever you need to do. It's absolutely fine. But in my own mind, I'm going to keep that. I'm going to repress it because I'm sure that's healthy.
I thought it was only fair to warn people, because I saw these spreads and I was a little shocked. I didn't expect it not to get mentioned at all, Ian. But I didn't expect them to do something so blatant as to that. And I think, I could buy it and always tear those pages out. But obviously you tear the one page out and you lose the page with Hartnell on it and things like that. And think, oh God, maybe I just shouldn't buy it at all, which of course doesn't help people like Keith in the chat and doesn't help the brand at all. Keith says here,
the right thing to do at all. But just because you don't like one thing, you like everything else, so get that. I think you should just if you want to snip it out, totally fine. Do whatever you need to do. There's some things in there more that I won't like. I know that already before I've even got it. So just make your own thing. That's what's beautiful about it. That's one thing that I just didn't like about the whole era. Sorry, you've got me on one now.
Why do you think we get you on?
I just didn't want to. I don't like being forced to believe something if I don't want it. Do you know what I mean?
Particularly
the great thing about RTD is he gave you something, and yes, he would make it so, but he would say, but believe whatever you want to believe, have your own interpretation of it. And I would just love to keep that, because it just gives that mystery. I love mystery. I've said it so many times on here. People must be sick of it. But I love keeping that mystery alive. So that's my piece. I think I'm done. I might come back and have another rant at some point, but I'll leave it for another time.
This is financial foolishness for a lost cause, says Richard Brooks. I can't help but feel that.
What I find so funny is like they've done that then as to be a statement. I'm sorry, to me that comes across as the BBC making a statement that, come on, it's in the annual, and now we're adding this whole chunk of which hasn't been explained well, which hasn't been delivered well on screen. But it's there, so we have to accept it. But then in the same breath, they are still referring to William in like the Blu-ray release as the first Doctor. But he's not, if we have to accept this new canon.
Yeah, he's like the millionth
Doctor. You're making us accept.
Yeah, we don't know, do we?
You can't have it. That's the thing, though. For me, it's like the BBC. You can't have it two ways. You either say that's your new canon, or you don't call William the first Doctor in your official products anymore.
I mean, the only thing might do, The only thing it might do is just give us a bit of, they know what's coming. They must have read RTD scripts, right? They know what's coming down the line. So I don't want to get my hopes up at all. But all I can sort of hope is actually they're sort of doubling down to go, no, she's still our first one, no matter what he says or whatever he glosses over. So I think it's, like you're saying, a very deliberate statement from the BBC, because I think they know exactly what's coming. And I think they could have done it, but they've done everything. They just trample over fans' feelings. They don't care who they offend. And yes, there are Jodie fans out there. So on the Jodie page, just have an appendices or acknowledgement or a nod to what's her face.
She's a cursory thing, isn't she?
I mean, how much screen time did she have?
I know.
I think it's barely 5 minutes.
Sorry, Dan.
Exactly. It's like 5 minutes. So appendices, sticker in the back, acknowledge that there's potentially or even that way, it's almost like a question mark then, because like, is it true? Isn't it true? But there's absolutely a statement from the BBC because I think they know what's coming from RTD. That's exactly what I would have done. My take on it.
Yeah. And I think that's what they do in such. I bet you've got a few of these. The big Star Wars reference books, Terry, from DK. They do that, don't they? They have their official timeline stuff, but they include sort of subtexts and subdivisions of ifs and maybes and things that happen off screen. And it's the same with all those. I've got a load of them. They're great fun, but they do make it very, very clear. I think, generally speaking, up until recently, the Star Wars brand was handled a lot better. But they would make it very clear what happened and what was on screen and what was conjecture. And with this, it just muddies those waters. Sadako24 in the chat says the brand benefits from understanding the fans, and the fans are letting it be known that they don't like this. And make no mistake, I know categorically, no, I can't say how I know. The BBC know that the fans don't like this. The BBC know that the public don't like this and haven't accepted it. Heaven knows where things are going to go in the next 18 months. We've got some great comments here. Keith Bradbury says, we used to sell 100 copies of every Doctor Who book shortly upon release. Now we struggle to sell 15. I'm really sorry to hear that, mate. Yeah,
that's really sad.
Very sorry indeed. We're going to stick with the Council of State Doctor, Ian. I'm sorry. We're going to stick with Joe Martin because I wanted to take a look at this. A little bit of fun at Joe's expense. Sorry, Joe, but it is quite funny. So a couple of weekends ago, not far from me or you, Shah, at Collectormania, the NEC in Birmingham, there was a chance to have a 4 Doctors group photo. Now, I heard that, got quite excited. Then I saw the lineup, but fair enough, people went and they paid their money and whatever else, and they could. Colin Baker was there, and so was Sylvester McCoy, the proper Doctors, along with Jodie Whittaker and Joe Martin there. And yes, some fans got to have their photo opportunity. I think it was quite expensive, about £200. Andy, did you think that's good value for money?
You'd have to pay me £200 to have a photo taken with those two. I'd have to say, quite happy with Sylvester and Colin.
A little bit like, I think together, if we merged ourselves together, we would kind of look like Jodie Whittaker. So I feel like I'd be alright.
I just threw up in my mouth then. Sorry. No. I know. I said, oh no, I'm gonna have to change my hair. She's copied my hair. I was like, oh my god. But then he's like, no, don't.
Oh, it's not a bad thing. She's a good looking woman, even if she's not the best Doctor.
I can't think of the 4 worst Doctors ever in the history of Doctor Who are lined up there, right there. Colin wasn't very good. Jodie was rubbish. The fugitive Doctor was hardly featured, and we got Sylvester McCoy. We all know how I feel about Sylvester McCoy. This is the worst lineup I've ever seen in my life in the history of Doctor Who. It really is. Seriously.
Oh God.
Well,
to be honest,
who was it who had the joke about getting the subs from the bench? I think that's perfect for that.
Well, it's easier to book the unpopular ones because they need the work.
I love Colin and Sylv, and they have put the work in. 30 odd years of conventions on audio and all the rest of it, compared to 3 or 4 scenes on screen for Joe Martin. A couple of years work for Jodie, but she's done pretty much now for all. So in all fairness, the people who do want to see her, I won't take that away from them. I would never want to take their Doctor and their moments away from them. But of course, that was an event that happened. Fair play. But after the fact, we had the news here that Ian, you wouldn't have been starstruck by any of that. We can accept that. But Jo Martin herself was rather starstruck to meet one of them in particular. So she posted this picture of her there with cuddly old Colin Baker there, having a good a cutch. I think Sarah Graham would call that a cutch. So there you are, and you can't fake smiles like that. That's fine. That's nice. That's lovely.
Of course you can. They're actors.
It's all good. I think Colin's saying, "Who the fuck's this again?" No. I think it's all absolutely fine. So yeah, Jo did what people do when they meet their hero. She immediately tweeted about it, and she put this out. My Doctor at Tom Baker finally got to meet him.
Oh dear.
Spot the deliberate mistake there, Ian.
Amazing.
Was it deliberate though, or was she really saying she thought?
No, she deleted it and reposted it with Colin.
Well,
it's you know what? Seriously, I got the feeling I'm going to be leaving the Doctor Who history stuff going forward. I really do. If they keep doing stuff like this, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
Well, as Terry said, she did steam in there, and well, the thing is, she tagged Tom Baker, but Tom Baker's not on Twitter. So who did she tag? Yes. Well, it was this bloke. It's this bloke.
Finally got to get it in.
Yeah, can you imagine how confused he was? This is Tom Baker from Bonn in Germany, who he probably has no idea who either of them are, what's going on, or why it's supposed to interest him in any way. So she did correct both mistakes, as you say there. And we got another one from Joe Martin, who says, "No, this is not Tom Baker, Ian. This is Colin Baker, my Doctor." Finally got to meet him, so she backpedals. At least Joe Martin. At least Joe Martin can laugh at herself. Shah, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I love that, and taking away everything about what Joe Martin's Doctor is, in inverted quotation marks or whatever you call them. Yeah, do you know what? I love that. I mean, pass the girl a shovel. Because she really was digging herself a hole, wasn't she?
It did make me laugh. It really did. And, I think, fair enough. Maybe she's not a geek after all. One thing I will say about Jo Martin is that I've always felt, both on screen and the very few interviews I've seen with her, is that she does understand the role of the Doctor.
No, she doesn't. You keep saying that.
No, Ian, I
really?
say she understands the role of the Doctor.
She obviously doesn't know who bloody Tom Baker is, does she?
I think she understands the cultural. I think she understands the cultural significance of the character. I think she understands how the character ticks, but it's an entirely different thing. Just because she's an actress, doesn't mean that just because she understands the character and gets it and was there watching it back in the day, that doesn't mean that she can reach the character, that she has the ability to play the character. And I think that she's only looked half decent on screen because she's been in the midst of frankly, an awful performance from Jodie Whittaker. But again, this is a nice picture. It did make me laugh. And the fact that Jo Martin can laugh at herself, that did make me laugh too. I can't pretend it didn't when it did. So did you go to the NEC out there, our companions watching on YouTube and Facebook? Did you go and have your picture taken with any of them, with Jo Martin or Jodie Whittaker, or Sylvester or Colin, the proper Doctors? Did you finally get to meet them? Let us know in the live chat. Let's see what people have got to say about all of that. If they were there at the NEC, because I didn't go. Oh, for Pete's sake, stop flashing at us, Dan. Sounds well, doesn't it? Oh my God, says Darren M. This is why I keep coming back to y'all, says James A. Fitzpatrick.
Well, somebody asked.
Absolutely. And people find it funny. Gareth Morgan says, I was watching Sylvester in an episode of Tis Was from 1981.
Yes,
Thank God I did not see it before he was in Doctor Who. He had real serial killer aspects. Gareth, I have no idea what that means. But
he used to do some weird stuff.
I know he used to do nude escapology, didn't he?
No,
and he used to stick ferrets down his trousers. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. Simon Ashley says, I just paid 220 quid for a diamond package to meet David Tennant at the Winter London Film Comic Con over at Olympia at the arena in London.
Well said. So, how come no one's going to be jumping on Simon and calling him an idiot for meeting David Tennant? Although David Tennant is a genius and a legend, right? But they pay $200 to get a picture of all those other 4 Doctors, whatever. It's like, at the end of the day, look, like the Cybermat strike thing popped up just now. Joe was a good Doctor. Regardless of whether us bunch of nerds here and the people in the chat are we all hate Jodie and we all hate Jo Martin. Jo Martin and Jodie both have legions of fans. You can't deny it. I'm just trying to sit on the fence by it and just playing devil's advocate.
I wouldn't say legions. They have a handful of fans,
but
they're very, very vocal.
When it comes to
it's valid. It's valid. I mean, I don't know how Cybermat strikes can really say that Jo Martin has been a good Doctor when she hasn't technically played the part. But no. I have a lot more generosity to directing Jo Martin's way because she's been given such little material. And I think, whether we like it or not, she has made quite a big impact with very, very little. I think some of that is more about what somebody else isn't doing than what she's doing. I think that is a factor.
This is like all the rabid rabid Marvel John Krasinski fans who saw John Krasinski deliver 4 lines in the recent Doctor Strange film and go, he's the best Reed Richards. I'm like, you did 4 lines, guys.
Not get my nut around that. It's like, what? Yeah.
She was wasted, says Side Matt Strikes just out there. I'm not. No, I don't disagree with that. I think we could. I think people can overcompensate. Really, and I can understand if they latch onto somebody, that's fine. But we've got to keep it in context. And
she's
I
only
want
there
to see
because
more
of
that person.
the agenda, isn't she? She's only there because of the agenda, and she's a woman of color, and that's why she's there. There's no other reation why she should be there. She's played the Doctor for 5 minutes. She should even be on the list.
Because I think she steamrolled over Jodie. I'm going to guess that's quite
she did. She did. Yeah.
But she was. I thought she was.
Do you know what happens, Terry, when you sit on the fence? You get splinters on your ass. Don't sit on the freaking fence. This is wrong. This whole thing is wrong.
I don't think Terry's wrong in the point that he's making.
I do. I will challenge Terry anytime. You can't destroy a franchise that is beloved by billions of people around, well, maybe billions, who knows, billions of people around the world, and say all that nonsense because we all know it's wrong. We all know it's wrong, and it's fine to joke about it, but quite frankly, I'm just upset about it totally.
You are upset.
It's ridiculous.
Like Dolly Parton said, you're always going to have your knockers, and so there's always going to be someone who absolutely hates what you do, right? And they're going to insist because the people who are usually the
we
loud,
all know it's wrong,
right?
Terry,
but Ian, right? If there was a regular podcast coming online saying it's the I Hate Rebecca Gold podcast, right? You'd be like, I don't care, Solomon. But
I don't care. No,
again, it's like you'd probably be the first to say, look, there is some. You can hate my product as much as you like. This is completely different, Terry. They've actually slotted this woman in there because of agenda and because of what's happening in the world. That's what they do. So it's wrong. There's no two ways about it. How do you feel about
sit on the fence?
How do you feel about Missy?
Who?
Missy.
I don't think they should have done it with her, but
no, she was slotted in to do the same thing.
Well, of course she was, but it's not so offensive as what they've done with Jodie and Joe Martin.
Yeah, but
it's really offensive. There's no surprise that Captain Kirk is not on the poster of the celebration of Star Trek Day, is there? And it's no surprise that they put Joe Martin in front of the First Doctor.
I think what you're inferring, Ian. I think what you're inferring here is that there is an element of tokenization.
Yeah,
to the Joe Martin Doctor in particular, where that wasn't there with Michelle Gomez being cast as Missy.
Yeah, exactly.
And wasn't even there when Jodie Whittaker was cast as the Doctor.
Michelle Gomez was introduced to set up the idea that a Doctor can turn a Gallifreyan can regenerate into.
We know that now.
Yeah, but also the slight difference with Missy is it suited the character.
Yeah.
The Master to get one up on the Doctor, of course the Master to completely blindside the Doctor would do the gender change.
I don't agree with that.
With the Doctor, it was never made sense as the character in itself.
I don't agree with that. In Roger Delgado's day, he just put a rubber mask on.
He did, I love it. I love him. It's great.
I want to give the last word to Keith Bradby here, watching in the chat, who says that people speak with their pocketbooks. If merchandise doesn't sell, then the BBC cannot continue to lie that whether about her being popular or any other factor, I suppose. And I think that's absolutely right. And the Doctor Who brand, which we're going to come back to in a little while, does need to recover. I think they are making moves to do that. If not to course correct the brand themselves, but the culture at Doctor Who is gradually changing. They're dialing back on a couple of things, which you're going to come to in a little while as they approach that 100th centenary of the BBC. There with Doctor Who slipping away from them into the hands of
it's a rainbow. Look,
and Sony. Who'd have seen that coming? A rainbow. That's the official BBC stuff. Yeah, got a little bit of fan art here.
Half of Jodie Whittaker's outfit.
Jodie does have her fans, and we've got some fan art here, courtesy of Whovian Life. So that's Jodie going to the chip shop there, and
I thought she'd be on the other side. Do you want fries for that?
Fries for that.
Thanks for that. And as always, there'll be lots more prettier pictures than that coming up later on in the show. Why on earth do we do all of this, Ian?
What?
For the sheer love of Doctor Who. That's why we get into these little arguments that we have sometimes about the minute details, about whether Sylvester's brown coat was better than his cream one, or about whether Missy was valid. What's that biscuit called, Dan? It's called a Jammy Dodger, mate. It's called a Jammy Dodger.
I actually tasted one a couple of days ago, and do you know what? It doesn't taste very good because it doesn't have
They're
any cream
horrible.
in it. Yeah, it's horrible.
Depends where you get it from. Did you get the Burton's, proper Burton's ones?
There's a proper Burton's one?
Burton's are the official originators of the Jammy Dodger, but there are, I think Aldi do their own now. Everybody does their own Jammy Dodger, don't they, Shar? Have you spotted that?
Oh, absolutely. I love Jammy Dodgers. I'll eat them all day.
It's got no cream in it. It just tastes dry, just with the jam. It's weird.
What are you talking about?
The jam's weird though. Jam's not like jam. It's like artificial jam.
It is, isn't it?
It's like fiberglass. It's solid.
Really sugary.
I'm so pleased with some people.
The jury is out on Jammy Dodgers and in the live chat on YouTube and Facebook too, answering the important questions here on Type 40 Live. You don't get that on Radio Free Skaro, do you? Now, of course, you don't
even know what it is. Is that what's Radio Free Skaro? What is that?
Apparently, it's a Doctor Who
podcast. Every week.
I just assumed it was a running joke that I didn't understand.
I didn't know that.
Apparently, Ian, that I've heard it on good authority. There are other Doctor Who podcasts, but I don't care about all that. I only listen to Type 40 at type40.podbean.com. It's there at the home feed on the homepage and across all major podcasts that week. That's where you can get every episode of both Type 40 and the audio editions of this very show. So if you miss all this goodness or some of this goodness while you're drinking, a lot of people do drink while they're watching and listening to our show, apparently. Take from that what you will. But you can go back and you can get it in your ears just to relive it and refresh your memory between now and the next one. All those shows are up as MP3s to stream and download at Type40.podbean.com.
Download? Where did you go?
I think I went north a little for. I think I went north for a couple of seconds there, Shah. Yeah. It's a bit of a worry. It's a bit of a worry. What's coming up? What's coming up next? I don't know. I'm sort of making this up as I go along. This is the bit where we go and find out what everybody is talking about out there in Doctor Who land. Now, as always, this is up to date Doctor Who stuff. Published today was the latest issue of Doctor Who magazine, no less, which is I know it's not as essential a purchase as once it was, but I still pick it up every 4 weeks. I think it's out now without fail. This latest issue features Sacha Dhawan as the Master there on the cover. So that's the standard cover with I think there's about 8 fonts on that one, Terry. It's going up by the month. Horrendous, but the actual photography I think is really nice. So that's an exclusive picture they've got there of Sacha as the Master. In my opinion, the very best thing, the only good thing about the Jodie Whittaker era is the performance that he puts in.
You've been too kind, Dan.
I've always liked this actor. I mean, people who've been listening to the podcast for years will know that for me, he was my pick for playing the 11th Doctor before we knew they were going to go with the gender swap thing. So. I've always liked this actor, and I do think he's been good in that role. Just been given, like everybody else, some shite material. But he's sort of representing the entire production, really, because everybody else has sort of moved on to other things, I'm thinking. But the entire brand is getting its. I think what we're seeing now is the fall of an empire as it all moves across to Bad Wolf. So we've got the Centenary special has been listed already for physical media release. So that's out as we gear up to Christmas. So it's out in this attractive cover on Blu-ray or DVD, and it is in a steelbook that's even more beautiful, which is metallic and black. So obviously there'll be some official key art coming.
Blu-ray of color. That's what it is.
It is indeed, but that's not what's got everybody talking this time. What's got everybody talking?
Wow.
Is the revelation at last, because it's been months. When was the last special? It was at Easter. Yeah, I've tried to blot it out. That legend.
Yeah.
Legend of the Sea Devils that was on at Easter. So it's been a few months since that, and there was a trailer, more like a teaser really, for what was to come in this final special. But they've kept everybody waiting now for quite a long time, and so much so that I thought that Doctor Who fans were going to go slightly bonkers in this sort of extended silly season, clamouring for any bit of information they could possibly get about this next special. So it's a 90-minute special. It's there to mark the BBC's centenary. So 100 years of the BBC, not 100 years of Doctor Who. And that, for the most part, was all we knew until this very week. And we now have a title for this special. It's called Doctor Who, The Power of the Doctor, Andy. The Power of the Doctor. We know the title at last. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words to strike fear into the hearts of every Who fan. So go on, you go first. When you heard this released out into the wild, what was your gut reaction to hearing this title?
I was just like, oh God, it's going to be one of two things: Power of the Scissoring, which is unlikely.
Well, I'll put it past
her and
them.
Yaz finally get it on, or it's just gonna be Power of the Whammon, because everybody sort of realised, oh, hang on, we destroyed the universe and forgot about that. We might need to put it back together. So the Power of the Whammon Doctor. I don't need no former male doctors sorting this crap out. I'll go fix the universe, and yay! And hopefully she gets killed while doing it. That's what I thought.
Well, she is gonna die.
Yeah, but she's got to get, like killed, not because all the other doctors sort of do a bit self-sacrificing stuff. Hopefully, she just gets shot or decapitated.
She won't.
Or
she won't do.
something,
Yeah,
she will not sacrifice herself.
She won't sacrifice herself. No. She ran away last time. Do you remember when that guy
died from Game of Thrones to do it instead?
Yeah, probably. But so there'll be like a Dalek, and she'll shove Yaz in front of it, and Yaz will get blasted, and then she'll be like, "Oh no, what have I done? Sorry, Yaz."
Chuck. You took one for team. You took one for team, Chuck.
Sorry, love.
What will happen is some random poor bloke character will appear 10 minutes before the end and just happen to sacrifice himself. That's how it's going to go.
Some random white dude. Yeah.
It's about 90.
They're really good for.
It will just go, oh, it's all right. It's my turn, love, not yours.
Yeah, there's going to be some big bad middle-aged white man that probably brought back that Trump guy again. And somehow she needs to take him on, bring him down to save the universe, get rid of the flux, rewind time, and she ends up back David Tennant again.
I'd say that's pretty much bang on. I think that's bang on. And I think that's almost certainly what we're going to get. Now, people could say, Charlotte, what's in a name? This is, how can we possibly judge a whole episode, a 90-minute episode of Doctor Who based on just a title? But personally, I think it's more than fair that we judge. We are not in a position where we need to be objective. This is the end of something, not the start of something. We are informed, are we not, by about 29 episodes of television. So it's not unreasonable for us to, if not to know exactly what we're going to get, to have a fair idea, isn't it?
Well, yeah, also because Chibnall is the most predictable writer on the planet. It's like he doesn't do imaginative or creative.
Will there be a countdown clock in this? What do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
I to be fair, I saw it, and my main thought was, Chibnall, you've just used the same title from your last 2 specials and moved some words, because we've had Eve of the Daleks, Legend of the Sea Devils, Power of the Doctor.
Do you reckon they've got like a tombola and they just pull out words and then they go, that's the title?
Yeah, it must be the same thing. I'm going to have to disagree with that one on you, Charlotte. And I very rarely disagree.
You know what? This stream is power of the women. This stream
What's your take? What's your take, Char?
I couldn't give a monkey's about a title. Who cares? It's a title. I'm so just not bothered at all when it comes to things like this. It could mean anything. I'm not being funny, but we had Moffat say doing the name of the Doctor, and it had nothing to do with that. I don't think a title matters. I'm in such a small minority, quite obviously, because of how much I've seen about this title. It means nothing. It's going to be, quite rightly, the power of being a woman, which is absolute
I think that is why
I was going to say bollocks.
Some of the comments that I've seen are what's in a name and why do you object to this name? Because we've had the power of the Daleks, we've had the power of 3. What's wrong with the power of the Doctor?
Yeah,
and I think what you've picked up on is part of the problem that people have with this, because you can see it's not relating to the narrative at all, that he's pointing to yet another abstract concept connected with wokeism, which is a mild obsession of this production team and all that Chris Chibnall has ran as his sort of front line for the entire 4 years that this show's been on.
I disagree a little bit. This is so rare for me. I never disagree with you guys. But it's one of those where Moffat did the time, the name, and the day of. Why is no one bothered about that? But
I don't think it's the construction. I think because he was the first. Firstly, Moffat was the first to do it. Here with. All the way through Chibnall's era, exactly. It's the derivative nature of every decision that Chris Chibnall makes.
He's piggybacking on those names because we all remember, the day of the Doctor, the night of the Doctor. Is it in that same vein? He's absolutely, riding on those coattails. I think that's kind of what. And then underneath all of that, you just go, he is going to triple down on his messaging on his last one. There's no way he's gonna go up. He's absolutely gonna give us so much whiplash of ideology that we're not gonna know which way's up. I think it's just gonna be an absolute car crash. And if I'm wrong, I will absolutely put my hands up. But I just don't think he's got enough talent to write a decent Centenary special.
Rainbow.
So it's interesting that you've all gone there. For although you sort of disagreed there, ladies, all three of you to some degree or another, that you've all sort of circled what I've circled about this. I don't think this is innocuous. I mean, you could say what's in a name, and I get it. But I think with episodes of Doctor Who that you latch onto, and particularly these specials, which become sort of inscribed in the legend and the lore of the whole show, people want them to have this greater weight and resonance. I mean, look how we talk about with bated breath the 5 Doctors, the day of the Doctor. They bring with them, in hindsight, so many memories. They're so evocative. So I think people expect more from this. Mm-hmm. And I think you've all circled exactly the thing that's bothering me. I can't help but judge, based on past experiences, this is not going to be about literal regeneration energy, that kind of power. This is going to be some reference to the more abstract ideas, to the idea of empowerment and that expression, don't take away my power, don't step on my power. Those kind of mantras that we hear repeated a lot as part of wokeist dogma, Andy.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I think, as fans, and do tell me if you don't agree with me, but I think one of the biggest criticisms of this era is that they don't actually understand Doctor Who, they don't understand the heart, they don't understand the messaging. So the power of the Doctor to us, or for me, I'd be like, well, we've seen it, like in Stolen Earth. The power of the Doctor is his companions, his friendships, the impact he has on people's lives,
to bond people
and inspire people to be more than what they are. That's the power of the Doctor, and we just know there's no way she's taking a back seat and Yaz and Ujima Flip is running around saving the world. She's going to be front and center.
Who's the guy's name again?
Is it Dan? Dan, yeah.
Dan. Oh God, I forgot about him.
Yeah, I think everybody has. Yeah.
You also, this means, folks, we're going to get the most convoluted, over-the-top regeneration.
Oh,
if you thought some of the, if you thought some of the blokes could get a bit like self-indulgent and a bit like me, I think Jodie's is going to be that times 10.
I hope she gets shot, stabbed, a thing falls on her. I just hope she just train runs her over.
Even just here in our live chat on YouTube, we've got some far more creative names for this special here. James Fitzpatrick, he's straight in with Ladies' Night of the Doctor. I'm liking this. Keith Bradbury says the face of Jodie, the talons of Whittaker, or the Chibnall of death. I think those are.
I think Chibnall of death is good. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, much better.
JFO though is looking to the story itself, and Chibnall's absolutely heinous, timeless children It's not even an arc. It's just something he spewed onto screen. We'll come to that. I want to just look at these comments first. We'll come to that in a little while. JFO says it's probably going to be the Doctor's power to now have unlimited regenerations because of the timeless children. And yeah, that's one reading. But and I suspect obviously they will allude to that. But knowing Chris Chibnall, I can't help but believe as a final statement, I think the ladies are bang on the money there. I think it's going to be something. I think it's going to be something bang on the nose, totally alluding to this wilder idea that's more connected with the ideology that he's had in place since the very beginning to make his version of the show critic-proof. You cannot criticize this any aspect of his production of the entire 4 years without being called names. And sure enough, I have been just this very day. So we've got this from that bastion of common sense, Twitter. I've removed the name. This is the kind of thing that's been scooted around. So this is from an unnamed tweeter who's listed a load of Doctor Who titles there, various specials past, and just uses of the word power, completely missing the point. And he says, and this was a bloke, I'll say that, if you're bothered by the power of the Doctor, the Centenary episode title, just be honest, your real problem is using the word power in a show with a female lead. So there we go. Right to the last. If you don't like it, you are a sexist, you are a racist, you are a homophobe, blah, 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 blah. Right from the moment that she was, from the moment that she was cast. Same old.
What, my little flower pot? Look at us three ladies. Are we thinking
the power of the women?
I think it's going to be something along the lines of, whatever happens, and so she won't necessarily sacrifice herself, but you can only fix it if you're a woman. So if there's any of her other incarnations, they couldn't do it. It's got to be something connected to the fact that she's a woman. So only that incarnation could have saved the world.
But I hope you're wrong.
I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
If there's anything about menstruation art in this, I'm going to turn off, I swear.
Well, it's probably like something's going to explode, but if you put a tampon in it, it'll save the day, and the countdown clock will stop at 1. That's what it's going to be.
I hope everybody realises that we, the men, are not saying this stuff. It's the women.
We're the worst. We are the worst.
It's them. It's not us.
Absolute gold here on Type 40 Live tonight.
Women are portrayed that way, as you might have gathered from my channel. I just find it offensive.
I am so gutted that I've not watched it before.
Vanessa Law, another one of our strong female characters in the live chat, says, "I really don't need Chibnall to tell me how strong I am. I have natural childbirth twice."
Nice.
Yeah.
Just Selako24 says, "Name of the Doctor was a bit of a clever misdirect. As it turned out, it was about what is done in the name of the Doctor, sort of in the name of the fire." Yeah, there was double. In fact, there was triple meaning to that. Very, very clever, and a strong episode in my opinion. Mm-hmm. What else? People reminiscing over specials past. Aidan McGear says it just doesn't flow as a title. It's like this is what you said. It's like picking the name out of a tombola. Let's use one of those classic templates. And to be honest, it's right that a celebratory episode of Doctor Who, of a legacy episode, does feel connected to the cliches of the show, I suppose, Terry. That because these are the things that we love to poke fun at too, aren't they? The naming conventions and things.
Yeah. Again, what everyone else said, I'll defer to everyone else's comments on that slightly uninspired title.
Yeah,
it sucks. It really does.
Dave Mullen says it's a superhero's title, Ian.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, I don't really care, tell you the truth. I don't care if Jodie lives or dies in this episode. I really don't care.
Well, I can understand why.
Are you going to watch it Withering Generation though? Because
I'll see it on YouTube. I'm not going to watch it on the I'm not going to watch that episode at all. I'll watch it on YouTube. Somebody's bound to put it on there.
Yeah.
I just hope something falls on her or something,
I'm not giving them any ratings. No, I'm not giving them. I'm not giving them rating. I'm not giving the BBC ratings. I am not going to watch it.
I'm not going to watch it. I'm just going to watch the YouTube.
I mean, I'll end up watching YouTube or watch. I mean, it's going to be a plethora of, including yourself, I'm sure, Dan. Doing a live stream afterwards that can tell me what happened and
exactly.
No doubt see the moment. But I refuse to give them any ratings, quite frankly.
Well, James Ace Fitzpatrick, he's going to be watching. He says, to be honest, I will watch because at this point, I'm just wondering how far will they go? How big of a mess it will be? I have just bought my microwave popcorn. And, you're quite right. I mean, we will be covering it here on Type 40. Quite how and when and with who, I'm not entirely sure because I think at the moment, Charlotte, there's only you and I that are actually watching this thing.
Probably. No, Shah as well.
So the three of us,
if forgot about
the power of the girls,
if we can wrangle Shah into it as well. So at least there could be the three of us. I think Simon Horton may be watching it as well. We'll have to wait and see.
Terry, didn't you say that you'll watch it just because, like Dan and I don't know about yourself, Charlotte. I'm sure you're exactly the same. But because I feel like we've just invested so much time in watching this.
Oh yeah, it's pure obligation. It's pure obligation watch at this point. That's how I refer to it.
I think Simon said he's going to get his dog to watch it instead. I think that's what he said. So there you go. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Let him go to watch it instead.
Yeah.
Wendy says if they wanted the moral high ground, they would have been better off just giving her and us good stories and ignored the fact that she was female.
Yeah.
But they instead they've done and they've courted controversy. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm one of this is one that I think I'm in the minority. If you're going to do a female, actually have a really good character arc about it. Actually have a doctor that's going through like having to deal with that. Actually having like a really like a doctor that's almost like the most retrospective, the most sort of, because it should have been a massive change and it just wasn't part of the actual. Jodie's doctor is not informed.
Is that a tongue? Remember that? I was like, I was out there. I was like, what the hell?
I didn't know what colour his kidneys were.
Yeah, but that was my issue. That was the limit of her dealing with it. And I was like, I'm sorry, Peter's doctor had a whole series about being a good man because
old.
I miss him so much.
And he was going on about how old he was and how people don't see him and stuff like that. All she could say is this a tongue? Yes. I was like, no, I was out. You know what I mean? Terrible.
I really miss him.
Yes, I think a great many people who we didn't know what we'd got when we got it, and I do believe there was gas left in the tank there with Capaldi as well. And as for Chris Chibnall, the former showrunner of Doctor Who now, he's been out of this role for quite some time. As far as I'm concerned, this is just more of the same. And what do you expect, Chris? From what do you expect? What do you expect from a man who gave us so little over such a long period of time? Let us know what you think in the live chat. Keep them coming on YouTube and Facebook. There's lots more to get into right after we go, Ian, to a place where I think you'll.
Don't say it.
Where are we going?
We may be off to the little boys' room. Ian.
Oh, good.
So it's that time where we go and we refill our cups, our mugs, or whatever else, our drinking vestibules. We do that, or we go and expel. We go the other way, and we put some out. But before we get there, I wanted to ask you. I'm going to tell you about this when we come back. So before we get there, I've got a question to ask you guys. I'll tell you after the break, but we've got a beautiful site here. So if you remember, Eagle Moss, who make the Doctor Who collectible models, they've recently gone out of business, haven't they? And there's about 200 of these things. And the rumours are that the company can be saved and somebody's going to pick up the license for those and the models will hopefully carry on or at least complete the things that people have got in various states. Because there are lots of people's hearths and workshops that are just littered with these things. But and here is one such example. So I wondered if you can tell me. I'm going to tell you the answer after the break. But can you guess whose collection of Doctor Who Eagle Moss figures this is? Let us know in the chat who you think these figures belong to, and we'll be back with the answer in a couple of minutes, right after the Type 40 Doctor Who ad break. So yeah, have a think about whose collection that could possibly be, and we'll see you back here in a couple of minutes with more Doctor Who talk.
They clean brilliantly. They're dermatologically tested. What else makes you buy Purcell's non-bio tablets?
Well, they leave the clothes beautifully fresh and soft.
And you like this, do you?
I like my men rough and ready, and my clothes just the opposite.
Purcell non-bio tablets. Brilliantly clean, beautifully soft.
You have a rich uncle I don't know about.
No,
An oil well in the garden, perhaps?
No, Dad, look.
So in the absence of these things, you might consider a fallback position?
A what?
I mean a pension.
A pension?
Yes, a pension. This is a very simple thing to find out about. So simple, even you can do it. You go into the Midland Bank, you'll recognise it. It has this big sign on it that says Midland Bank.
Ha ha.
You tell the guy all about yourself. In your case, this will not take too long. He listens to you like you're a very interesting person. He tells you which pension plan works best for you.
Say I don't like the look of any of them.
The point is you do something, and you do it now. I don't want you to end up being a burden to my grandson, okay?
Okay.
Give him here. There you go.
Midland Pensions. For details, call in at your local branch or ring 0800 400 469.
Here's how to remember the Green Cross code. First, find a safe place to cross, then stop. Stand on the pavement near the curb. Look all round for traffic and listen. If traffic is coming, let it pass. When there is no traffic near, walk straight across the road. Keep looking and listening for traffic while you cross.
Stay! Well, now we'll all remember the Green Cross code. And use it. Splink!
A tenner. Went a long way in Charles Darwin's day. Now, you're lucky if it buys you lunch.
Unless, of course, you shop at Farm Foods.
A kilo of chicken breast fillets, a tenderloin of pork, yellowfin sole, frozen at sea cod, half a duck with pancakes, 12 southern fried chicken steaks. Amazingly, any 3 of these for just £10.
Fill up your freezer at Farm Foods.
Yes, we're back.
I'm going to Farm Foods. Farm Foods. We've got a great place. 10 quid. 10 quid.
It was Splink. It was Splink that really made. I'd never heard of that. I'm like, that's not even a word.
Right. I love his tie though. I love his tie.
I don't know if you noticed. Now, Terry, you may know this. Those 3 little kids stood on the curbside there with John Pertwee. There was a boy, I think, and 2 girls. But the little boy in the middle, he's grown up to be a famous film director, and he was an actor for many years. Did you spot who that was?
I did not. No, I didn't.
Ian, I bet you must know Ian. You've probably worked with him.
Nope. No idea.
It was
I'm eating.
Dexter Fletcher, the director of Bohemian Rhapsody, and the other one, the Elton John movie. What was that biopic called?
Rocket Man.
Rocket Man, that's it. And he also did the Eddie the Eagle film and various other things like that.
Officially, he didn't direct the Queen movie, did he?
No. Well, I think he directed sort of half of it.
Everybody knows, yeah. Everybody knows he directed it. Yeah,
for the sake of the live stream. Yes. So before the break, I asked you that lovely big collection of Doctor Who figures. There were at least a couple of hundred in there, weren't there? All scattered across that workshop. Who did they belong to? Let's have a look and see if anybody got it in the chat over from the Doctor Who loft. Let's see. Oh no, have we got any answers? No, people are too caught up with Splink.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Himself.
It does sound like a Chibnall villain, that doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Was it Tom Baker? No, it's not Tom Baker. Jodie's collection. Is it Jodie's collection? Says David Hammond.
Right.
Nobody's got it. I thought people would get this. Right away. Okay, so that collection belongs to the one, the only, all the way, I think, from his home in the Mumbles. They belong to Russell T Davies there in his workshop. You can see them just over his right shoulder there, Shaw.
I think actually a few people did get it in the chat. I'm just having a look. I just scrolled up.
They did, yeah.
Someone did, yeah.
Okay, I didn't say. Well done if you got that. And yeah, I think that's a handsome collection there from Russell T Davies. Of course, he doesn't have to pay a single penny for any of them. They get sent out to him. The same with Doctor Who magazine. But it's still nice. I wouldn't like to dust them all, though, I don't think, Ian. Can't just put them in the wash like your baseball caps, can he?
Yeah, you just have a little brush like that and clean your... That's what I normally do, clean my
How have you... Why is that there?
A brush, so you can, like, for instance, there's
what
not dust on the old TARDIS. You kind of clean it away.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There you go. Blue Peter's loss is our gain, everybody. Okay, so we're back with more talk about the Centenary special and the things that are coming in just a few weeks' time in the Whoniverse with a panel here at Type 40 Live. Now, we have this story-wise. I think we're all pretty much on the money so far. It's going to be an absolute disaster. It's going to be a proper all-ends-up mess. When Russell T Davies, who we've just seen on screen there, he has said it's like, what was his quote? It's a 10-year-old's idea of what Doctor Who should be.
Did he say that?
When did he say that?
I've got the exact
in
quote
one of his
somewhere.
interviews. I can't remember which one.
And that was him talking it up.
So much.
I know.
That sounds promising.
We have every reason to believe. We have every reason to believe, though, this is going to come in at 90 minutes. And the simple fact is that the brand is about to be handed over to Bad Wolf. So, really, Bad Wolf, it's in their best interests, I feel, Terry, for this special to look and to go down. You know, they can't control what's been shot, can they? But they probably have a vested interest in it because they're going to pick up the baton next, aren't they?
I've got no idea how much control Bad Wolf would have over the current Jodie Whittaker Centenary or whatever you want to call it, or special. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and usually they wouldn't have any at all. And officially, probably for now until a few years down the line, they're not going to have any at all either. We won't ever find out whether it's true or not. But we are hearing whispers. Now, several of us at Type 40 have been led to believe, just picking up little things that we've heard, that Russell T Davies and Bad Wolf. Now, Russell did say that he'd seen the final assembly cut of this some weeks ago when he gave that comment, and it's not outside the realms of possibility that it could have been given over to the wizards at Bad Wolf to whip into shape. Because if anybody was unlucky enough to sit through all 6 weeks of Flux, I won't say it didn't have its moments. It did here and there, but generally speaking, it was somewhat shapeless, wasn't it, Shah? And you felt like you'd got sort of a kind of whiplash from watching the 6 weeks of it. And I believe that's exactly the kind of special that Chibnall would have delivered under his own steam. Whereas if this has been given to Bad Wolf to maybe edit into shape in some way, to soften and to give it some sort of natural flow, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, you can't really control what's shot. The only one thing I can say about this era is the cinematography is great, and I do think it looks pretty. But that's I can't see how, you know, I'm really clueless to how these sort of things work anyway. But yeah, I don't see how you can't polish a turd, as they say. But then
they said that in the comments.
Yeah, in the chat, there's 3 or 4 references to polishing turds.
Well, right, you are, Raymond, didn't I? So sorry. But yeah, I think that's absolutely it. But my God, wouldn't we feel like absolute muppets if it turned out to be great? I know it won't, but can you imagine?
I think it would be a step up, Shah, if I'd settle for a story that would just hold my attention. And that would
awful that's the standard you've got now, that you just want something that you're going to be invested in. I actually turned off the last episode of Flux, which is a shame because for the first 3 I thought they were excellent. But yeah, the fact that you said I just want a story that holds my attention, I actually find that quite sad, because about something that's going to be such a big event.
The thing is that Flux proved to us that Chibnall can't finish his own stories. When he's got he can do the beginning maybe all right, and then the middle it sort of dips a bit, and then by the end you're just going, what on earth am I watching? Like, that's how I would describe Flux if I were to sort of like put it in bits.
And I think to the general public, Charlotte, that's going to be how they receive it. I mean, if we struggle and we're fans, then what are they going to think?
Yeah, and also like, what I can see as a possibility, because obviously I don't know, I'm like everybody, we were sort of guessing very much here. Maybe because of the ending, maybe Russell or somebody at Bad Wolf had a bit of an input for the actual ending point, because she's going to regenerate into somebody. And you would guess that would be the starting point. David Tennant. And then you'd think that they would have to pick up, like you said, the baton. So maybe the ending, they've had a bit of a say. They've had a bit of a sort of, well, can you do this for us? Because we're going to have to start from this point.
We know that, I think it was towards the end of last year or early this year, that Bad Wolf were filming at Bad Wolf Bay. I can never remember the name of the bay itself. Terry, do you know that was used in Doomsday, and they've gone back to it several times since. They were back at that location filming new material. So
I don't know.
They were there. So I suspect we're going to see in this special some material that technically has been shot by Bad Wolf to top this off, and maybe even Russell did write something.
He did say on the one show that he saw it, didn't he? And then he went into that thing where he said it was fabulous. But the thing is, though, I reckon I agree with you, Dan. Maybe they thought it was so awful they brought him in and said, "What can you do?" Because there's no reason to show him that, is there at all? They probably brought him in and said, "What can we do? How can we make this better? And how can we connect it to?" to your one. So I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why they brought him in.
That makes sense.
It was Russell. Like, that's what I found. Like, Ian, I agree completely. I found it so odd that it wasn't BBC telling us the running time. It wasn't Chibnall. It was Russell who was the first one who came out and told us 90 minutes.
Yeah.
He's become the spokesperson. He's become the ringmaster of somebody else's circus, I feel, Charlotte.
Which I just found so odd. And I also found the comment about the editing. I was like, so why would you see the final edit? Why on earth would you get that unless there's something going on here?
Oh, I thought,
what do you think?
It becomes quite obvious, doesn't it?
I was just saying, I mean, Chibnall's such an arrogant arse, putting it bluntly, that, his own ego would get in the way. So I think there's obviously been something. I can just see him like sort of either throwing these toys out and just go, just don't care, and then when it's all crap, it would actually be Russell's fault, and I can come out and say, well, actually Russell got hold of this and blah blah blah, or he just is so beyond caring, and obviously Russell still has a passion, and he's obviously a big fan of the BBC as well, so he's trying to salvage something more for the Centenary and the show. But I just think like Chibnall's just probably just so. I don't just like you don't understand me and how fabulous I am, and he's probably dropped off. And somebody else is probably even, wouldn't surprise if somebody else has even written the episode. How much of it is even him? I don't know. I could really see him throwing his toys out. So
it's really weird, right? Because going forward, if they allowed that that Chibnall thing, the timeless children, all that stuff, to allow to go forward with it, they can't call the Doctor a Time Lord anymore. Beyond this point, if they allow that to stand.
This has to be the end of all of that, I think, Ian.
I hope so.
Chris Chibnall seems convinced that it's going to be the end of it. So they must have had some conversation somewhere along the line. He seems resigned to the fact that it's going to go nowhere, and I can't believe they haven't pulled him into line. I mean, Chris, if you are watching, sometimes, mate, a cloud is just a cloud, but other times, well... we have, so we know so little. But as the week has gone on, we've seen a little bit more courtesy of Doctor Who magazine. That was published today. A great big feature in there, a big interview with Sacha Dhawan. Again, although Russell T Davies has sort of taken over promoting this thing, I think Sacha has been the excellent ambassador for the show that people often claim that Jodie Whittaker is just by existing. I think Sacha always seems engaged with it. He can never seem to wait to be able to get to a point where he can talk about it again. I've seen him meeting people at conventions, and he hasn't got that sort of slightly manic fixed grin as, should I sort of stare now? Is that all right? He just looks like he's really pleased to be there. He looks and he behaves like a star is what I'm getting at. And he's not the only one. I mean, I'm sort of quaking in my boots a little bit as an 80s kid that they are bringing back two of not just one. They have to bring back my two very favourite 80s companions, Janet Fielding as Tegan Javanka and Sophie Aldred as Ace, as Dorothy McShane. Well, we know why, don't we? Well, firstly, we think that we have every reason to suspect. They were the two.
Bring back Jamie. Jamie was a great companion, and he's still alive, that guy.
We have every reason to believe that there will be more people in this special, and quite frankly, I quite frankly, I'm really worried about who they're going to drag into this.
Yeah.
But apparently, these two, from what I hear about the article in Doctor Who magazine, which I haven't read yet, they do seem to have more of a more screen time than was originally let on. I love Janet Fielding. I think she's a scream. I mean, some of the things that she said, and she's been speaking today on Twitter, made a comment that's got everybody talking. Yet again, Sophie just seems like a delight. I've never met her myself, but I know. Oh no, I have met her. What am I talking about? I have met Sophie, but I don't know her. I know people who do know her, and so they say she's every bit as warm and encouraging and friendly as you would ever want her to be. And I'm happy that they're back in these roles. I just wish it wasn't something written by Chris Chibnall. So, you know, and it's very mixed blessings for me seeing that, because obviously I watched these two girls back in the 80s there opposite, well, my doctor, Peter Davison, and Sylvester McCoy, who I've always had a lot of time for. And there's Sophie there in her pinstripe suit with the Doc Martens on, Terry. That just seems right, doesn't it? Apparently that was Sophie's idea, the Doc Martens.
Was it? I have no idea. I haven't seen these photos, so I have no idea.
So she's got the badges on her lapel. We did talk about this a few months ago. So the badges that are on Sophie's lapel there as Ace are a musical note and a trombone, which is directly taken from one of Ace's T-shirts from the 1980s. We've got a closer look at them here. These are pictures from Doctor Who magazine and Panini. So there they are on a lapel. So it's all derived from the original character, and I do like that. But we do have a closer look here at Sophie as Ace. Where's that? This is my favourite one. This is what they call a boss babe, I think. Not the kind of expression I say very often, but I thought I'd give it a test drive this time, Andy. I don't think I pulled it off, but just carry on, So this is Ace, isn't it? This is her. This is the same character, I think. What do you think?
I mean, the whole demeanour and how she is kind of, I guess, how you imagined her growing up. But she was always going to be in the thick of something, whether that was like unit or, you know, did she end up at Torchwood or something? Who knows, you know? But you always kind of got that feel that she would go out with a bang, not a whimper. Do you know what I mean?
What is she again? What is she now?
We don't
know.
What you knew? Sorry.
She could be the chief, the CEO of a charitable Earth, this foundation that was mentioned in the Sarah Jane adventure. So she could be connected to that. We don't know if this is going to be
I'm
canonized.
just seeing sort of spy equipment with the world maps and things going on. But I'm just saying, you sort
it's a bit bugs, isn't it? It's a bit bugs.
Bit spooks, yeah. But you know, I always hoped she'd end up doing something great, you know, because that was just her character, and she was, you know, she just.
We're going to bring back Perry.
We don't know, mate. The only people that we know for certain, I mean, we've spoken about the rumours about Doctors and Companions on this show before, but the only people we know that are in it categorically are Sophie and Janet for the time being.
It's going to be the dialogue, isn't it? I mean, like you say, I mean, she absolutely oozes Ace there, but it's what comes out of her mouth at the end of the day. And I'm sure they'll get her recreating her infamous, you know, beating up the Dalek or something, a lot, not necessarily a Dalek, but it would be more or less a parody of what she did, because again, Chibnall's got no creativity whatsoever, right? So, I mean, any other time I've been like, oh, it's great they're bringing like Ace back, and you know, because her and Sylvester didn't really get to say goodbye, you know, in their tenure, and she was a great companion. I just really hope they don't screw them up. Just at least let somebody out unscathed from this, but. You know, I mean, fair play.
I can't help but take this personally. I really could have to grab my two favourites.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. The other one doesn't really look like her a bit, does she? I mean, the girl who plays Ace, she looks. You know, you can tell that's her. But I can't remember. What's this?
This is Janet Fielding, who played Tegan
she doesn't look anything
from 1980 to 1984. Very long-standing, long-running companion on the show, obviously, and she's also been on Twitter today too. And she tweeted out. If you can transmogrify like the Doctor, why would you go for some old hetero white man every time?
Of course.
When the Doctor likes to explore. So she tweeted that out. It got a mixed reception. I like Janet Fielding. I think she's a lot of fun. I think she has personality. And I like the fact that she'll speak her mind. I think she's wrong about this. but it's fine. It's okay. Our friend Robert Payne in the chat here says, I deleted my reaction to Janet's tweet today because I got bored with the backlash. So, Robert, you clearly at the on the receiving end of probably some terrible behavior by some of the worst people in the fandom and the worst people in humanity that are part of that community on Twitter. But we do have Robert's reaction here. Robert, you chimed in with, perhaps because regeneration is not transmogrification. He regenerates. He's only supposed to heal and to become younger, thus to enable him to keep living. It's not supposed to be a roulette wheel of sexes and genders and whatever else. I think Robert put it really well there. I mean, I suppose it's okay for regeneration to be different things to fans who've come along in the last 5 to 10 years, but that doesn't mean that Robert's wrong either. And Janet politely disagreed with Robert. I did see her reaction. It was, well, that this is my reading of it. That's yours. You know, all fine. But it's Terry. When it comes to the actors from Doctor Who, it's okay for them to have their readings, their opinions, isn't it? It's when they shout other people's down, that it's particularly other fans down, their audience. That's when it becomes unpalatable. That's when it becomes bitter, isn't it? That's when it's not advisable. But this is fine, isn't it? That she should engage like this.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about a show that every side shouts at every other side, so it's just noise, isn't it?
Yeah. It's her reading, and she's just an actress, picks up her lines and plays her part and hopes everybody has fun with it. I hope she has fun playing the part. But, I think it's okay for her to have her opinions. I think, Robert, you handled yourself fine. I'm sorry to hear you got some heat from that. But I'm happy to see Janet back in the role. Hey, where are you with Janet Fielding as Ace Shah? Because I know you're not too keen on the Davison era, from what I remember, are you?
Oh, I like Davidson's Doctor. I just can't stand most of his companions, including Tegan.
There's loads of them.
Because I just found her... Like I like companions of spirit. I love Donna for that reason. But for me personally, there's a bit of a line, and for me, Tegan crossed that line when it came from challenging the Doctor to just moaning and just constantly complaining for the sake of it. And that's how I found Tegan. Like I liked her in the final episode because I actually felt for once she had a point, and she actually did have an argument with the theme of violence. Because that episode was full of it, and it actually made sense for her to say it in that moment.
She didn't want to be there, did she? Do you know what I mean? And she got dragged by the Doctor. Yeah. So it's not I can understand why she was moaning all the time. She just wanted to go back, where she came from, I guess.
I know, but I think for my problem, she just became too one note as a companion that I could pretty much, whenever I watched an episode, I was like, she's going to moan. It just, whereas Ace, I quite like Ace. I couldn't.
It's really funny because the picture of her just now that Dan put up. If somebody said that one on the left was her, I would not. No. I wouldn't. She looks so different compared to the picture with Peter.
I don't think in the face she's changed that much.
I think
she has.
Oh really? Oh wow!
I can't see it.
I mean, it has been 38 years.
Yeah,
maybe it's because I've seen so many pictures of her in the interim. I haven't ever. Have I met her? No, I've never met Janet at a convention, but I've seen interviews with her. I've seen various things that she's done and special features on DVDs and whatever else. It's not that much of a surprise to me. She is, it seems, a bit of a Marmite character. Looking at the chat here on YouTube, Richard Brooks says Janet's commentaries on the DVDs and Blu-rays are legendary, such fun. But Raymond Williams says, Perry was Davison's best companion. Kelly says a lot of people don't like Tegan. Richard then follows it up with, I never liked Tegan, but I love Janet. John offers, do actors have freedom to say what they really feel these days, or are they told to by marketing and PR teams to push a certain view? Some of them must be if they're under contract, hadn't they, Andy?
Yeah, I mean, Well, I mean, in this day and age, I mean, we're taking our life in our hands, just commenting on YouTube, aren't we? So
yes.
Sometimes, let alone. So I do feel for the actors that nobody wants to burn their bridges, and there is kind of a bit of a company line almost, and any that sort of stick their head above the parapet do get shot down. But
am I right in saying that Chibnall hasn't really engaged at all?
Oh, none at all.
Well, I mean, at least he's done something.
Chris Chibnall hasn't given an interview in a very, very long time.
Exactly. So at least he's stayed away from all that.
Like I say,
sorry, Andy, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that I mean, especially when not being disrespectful, but these ladies are kind of in the twilights of their careers. They still do the convention, so I know they have a love for the show, and they've probably come back with the best of intentions, trying to help the show. Then when you come back, can they really argue too much about what's in the script? I don't know. I mean, I guess ultimately, if they really didn't want to, they could walk away. But I'm sure there's quite a, no disrespect, but I'm sure there's quite a healthy paycheck in it for them. So I think it's really difficult in this situation when you're coming back to something. Then maybe when you're making something new, because you can choose to be in that, that thing or not. So I think they're a little bit of a no-win situation, aren't they? At the end of the day, if they said if they said what they thought, that could blacklist them in the current climate. If they don't say something, we all moan saying, "Oh, why are you sticking up for that?" And at the end of the day, with all actors and things, we never used to know what their politics was because they didn't bloody say it. And I wish they go back to that. So they may have always thought these sort of things. And I'm sure, like they'd say, well, I thought Tegan and Ace were very strong, brave women. And they were, but in a very different mold. So, I think, they may have always felt like this. And now they've got the platform to say it. And we're like a bit like taken aback because we've never heard what their politics were before. But I think it'd be just better for everybody if showrunners and actors just went back to days of not really commenting, or if there's something that they feel really passionate about, then fine. There are causes out there that there's a time to stand up and stand for what you believe in. Absolutely, time to make a stand. But when it's every little morsel of every blimmin' thing, and it's clearly I'm just saying the buzzword of the week. It's just like it's time just to focus on the show. Just focus on the show.
Of a time where everybody now has a platform, and how we use it is up to our own compass, isn't it? We've got a comment here from Gareth Morgan who says actors are obliged by contract to not say anything that can cause trouble for the studios. It's called a morals clause in the contract. I'd never heard that phrase before, Ian. A morals clause.
No, I haven't.
They have it in Hollywood that basically, if you do, I mean, it's in like most people's working contracts that, basically they used to have it, they took it out, and now they're looking to put it back in because people like Ezra Miller. But there used to be something like basically, if you bring the company's name into disrepute or bad PR, then it's sort of gross misconduct. So even most people's working contracts, they don't realize it's in there. But it's like, if you work, say if I work for quite an influential company and then I was all splattered all over the front page of the Sun, I hope that never happened. I don't see why it would, but they could actually fire me because I work for that company and I'm attached to that company. And so the studios used to have that in there. So if the stars kind of went off the rails and the PR machine couldn't save them, they could basically fire them and get them out of the contracts because it brought the studio's name into disrepute. So I know that definitely was something that used to be in Hollywood. I don't know if the BBC, well, based on what we've seen.
Do you remember when, like Doctor Who and all shows, they used to appreciate their fans. They like if a fan would say something, they'd worry about it. They go, okay, so maybe we need to change this or whatever. I don't know if you guys remember Points of View. You probably are too young. But when somebody wrote one letter in, the BBC was like, oh my gosh, we have to change this, whatever. Even though thousands are watching.
I don't know about one letter, but I think if they realise. They realised if they got a certain percentage of people who were saying the same thing.
But there was there was something about Casualty once that I think, was it a long time ago that like I think 20 people didn't like what happened in Casualty. And that was it, Dan. It was when they changed the format and they tried to make it look like film.
Oh, they
do you remember?
They changed the grey area.
And then everybody was like, why did you do that? You're like, I was told by someone at BBC it was it wasn't a lot of people that said it, but the BBC did change it back. So
they were the same when they changed the theme tune to EastEnders as well, from the theme that we know now to sort of an electronic version. They upturned that as well. So we've had a lot of comments about this in the live chat. I think particularly about Tegan, about Janet Fielding, and Ace there, played by Sophie Aldred. I think, how can you not be pleased to see them back in these roles? It's like a family reunion up to a point, but it's just when I see this picture and I see that figure stood in the middle, who I don't think Jodie Whittaker has the faintest idea. She's probably been told 3 or 4 times, has no idea who either of those two ladies are. It's written all over her face. Maybe I'm being cynical. I don't know. But for me, I'm most excited to see, particularly as he's being so front-facing, exactly what Sacha Dhawan's part in this is going to be. It does seem to be integral to it. And if anybody can pull this through as an anchor, as somebody who can act, who at least has connected with the role that he's in, I feel that it's him. I think that from what he said, he seems aware that this is quite likely to be his last regular time in this role. I think he wants to make it count. God. He has a blast playing the part. So you're not even won over by Sacha as the master?
No, because they didn't. Again, Atomic and all the girls on this, they really hit the nail on the head. Chibnall, right? He hasn't one original bone in his body. He just copied this master from Russell T's master. Yeah, that was all mad and everything, right? He did nothing special with this guy at all. And I mean, the guy's a good actor, but why is he being treated like this?
I think he's trying to find the layers to the character. Terry, you know the master.
So much if it's
know the master intimately. You've played him. What do you think about Sacha as the master? Is Ian on the money, or has he been too harsh? Or what do you think?
I'm obviously being too harsh.
No, I don't know the master that well, apart from doing a Delgado impersonation in the audios.
I think you're giving yourself faint praise there. I think you performed that part quite well. I think you must have some connection to it.
No connection at all.
But you've seen episodes, right, Terry? With
episodes of Sacha Dhawan?
No, with the original and the best.
Yeah.
So you know what he's about, right?
Not really.
No. Okay.
Do you think he's more of an idea than a character than the master? The Doctor's Moriarty? Is he that Is it that simply a cartoon, just a cliche, or is there more to the character?
I'll let someone else answer that. I'm not sure.
What do you think? Go on, Charlotte. What do you think?
Because my gripe with the modern way of writing the master is he's become a cartoon. He's become this sort of wacky, cackling villain that you could have for your finale every series almost. And I actually, when Sacha first in the Spyfall in series 12, before we got the reveal, I actually really liked what he was doing then, because it was a bit more understated. It was a bit calmer.
So did I.
And I was like, oh wow, like if you go this way, I might actually have something I really like from this era. That if there's one thing I can say, yep, you've done a really good job, Chibnall, it's your master. But as soon as he got revealed, he was cackling, he was jumping about, he was like a child who'd had too many sweets. And I was just so frustrated.
Because, Terry mentioned Michelle Gomez as Missy earlier on. And although it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, I'm sort of with Ian on that. Generally speaking, I thought that Michelle Gomez was fantastic in that part, reached into the character and evolved the master. And so I suppose, and because I think Sacha is certainly the equal actor
he
to
could do
Michelle
it.
Gomez.
That's what's frustrating.
Not given the material perhaps to move it on even further, because Michelle played with the layers, I feel, that Roger Delgado, that his performance sort of hinted at.
I think for me, the master that makes the character interesting, and I just hope Russell does this if we get a master with Russell when he comes back. I think the master, you need to play with this aspect that the master doesn't have the same moral compass as the Doctor, that the master is just as intelligent as the Doctor, but he will do things the Doctor would never do. And that's what's interesting. that you can have this character that can just kill thousands or millions of people, that can do the most horrible acts, and it's nothing to him because that's normal. He doesn't see the issue whatsoever.
It's got a lot of fans in the live chat, including Vanessa Law, who says Sasha's a super nice guy, terrific actor.
You're absolutely right. I was going to say, but he was supposed to be like, they're the yin and yang, aren't they? They were always the yin and yang. So, yeah, when there's like, the Master is as clever as the Doctor and could think his way out of stuff, but actually he was perceived to take the easy option, because actually it's just easier to kill people or shoot someone to get out of a situation than it is to, think your way out of a situation. And there was obviously scenes throughout all of Doctor Who where they're together and they're thinking it through, or they're arguing, there's a set to, and it's like, which way is the Master going to go? And occasionally he went with the Doctor, but then very soon, he's back to being the Master. But more often than not, he'd sort of take the more violent approach, which he was always supposed to be the opposite ends of the scale. But I think in later years, they do explore that. We know the Doctor could tip into that and become the Master if he was not careful. When we start seeing the Time Lord victorious and all that sort of side of it, he could go down that path. And again, when we talk about the power of the Doctor, it's all his humanity almost, even though he's I think he's Gallifreyan, and he's
might not be.
He's Gallifreyan.
Yeah,
he's Gallifreyan.
But his companions that keep him grounded and stop being this, going down that path of I can control everything, where the Master's on his own. He's never got anybody to rein him in, or the only person that reined him in was the Doctor. So, but I think you're absolutely spot on. If you get back to that more sort of yin and yang, and even I think maybe this guy's hoping he'll get carried forward into the RTD era.
Maybe,
and he deserves some good scripts and some decent dialogue, and see what happens. But I know they do tend to sort of wipe the slate clean a bit when they move on to showrunners. But who knows? Hopefully, maybe he'll get a shot of being, with a decent script. But you're on the money. We need the yin and yang back, not just like a psychopath running around, because he's more complex than that.
He's so much more complex.
As a comment, I agree with you. At his best, I think that's why Delgado's more urbane performance worked really well. We didn't get that so much with Ainley, but we got it with Gomez. I think we got it in some measure with
Gomez was
Johnson.
great.
I think with Johnson, so they explained why he was so manic with the drumming. There was a reason why he acted so crazy. Russell gave a reason behind why he is that, because he's being driven insane by this constant drumming. So at least there was a reason behind the mania. Whereas I think, I love the Master in the 80s, but he was like moustache twiddling Master, wasn't he?
Enter stage left. Yeah.
He was more than that, though. He was, as you just said, he was the Doctor's equal, and also you can tell that it is Moriarty and Sherlock Holmes. That's basically what it is, and he was more than that. A lot of people say he was the older.
He was a little bit, though.
A bit, but I think he was more than that. He was more.
I like this comment from Robert Payne, who says Sasha is very good at sounding infuriating by all the times the Doctor beat him and how the Doctor gets the attention, the foiled baddie role. We've got a comment here from Sacha Dhawan himself, and he's speaking about this very last episode. He's certainly going to play the character regularly, and he says, "I wanted it to be epic and moving, and when I watched the episode myself, when I watched it, I thought, I'm so glad that we landed that. It takes your breath away." It's always been really easy with me and Jodie. I do my thing and she does hers, and it just works. And that's because even though the characters have so much animosity between them, me and Jodie adore one another, which makes the scenes even more electrifying and more moving than they would be. Oh, bless him. He's very loyal. I think he obliterates her from the screen.
You can't say any otherwise, because obviously BBC is his employees, aren't they? So then he's not going to...
but to be fair, he could get on, and him and Jodie could be very good mates.
That's great if they do. Yeah,
he almost certainly does. I mean, I've seen pictures of them together. But he ends with saying, "I watched the episode on my laptop in a dark room the other day, and I was a blubbering mess." The rumor is that this will end with looking back to the analogy, the Moriarty and Holmes thing. The rumor is that this will end with the Reichenbach Falls style moment. We've heard rumors that Jodie will regenerate on a cliffside and all these kind of things. Shah, it's almost too good to be true.
Because she's fall off the cliff.
Immense distress, which can't even come close to the distress the audience have been in over the last 4 years. But what are you a fan of Sasha's Master, and what are your hopes for this final confrontation between this Doctor and this Master? Just that it's watchable, like me.
Yeah. To put it plainly. And going back to what you were saying, Andy, I agree-ish. Because
there we go.
And I hate to. How dare you? Oh, so, see, I just dropped something over. No, my main thing, and I hate to scapegoat her. I genuinely do, but I think it's actually a lot to do with the chemistry between Sasha and Jodie, because they don't feel like a yin and yang. They don't feel like they're playing off each other. If Sasha was playing against Matt, I would see that, because they tend to have a little bit of a similarity in their eccentricity, and I think that would work really, really well. Not that I'm biased in the fact that I adore Matt Smith, but I just think that those two would play off really, really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm saying they need to get back to the yin and yang. That's my point.
Absolutely, yeah.
Matt's got a personality
and talent.
And talent.
Going back to Delgado, where it was all very cunning. It wasn't about, it wasn't about all these mad, wacky schemes that he could do. It was all about being clever, which is exactly what you and Charlotte were saying.
He was sort of a confidence trickster in many respects. He would get somebody into their confidence.
What a sexy man in terms of his suaveness. I totally agree. But I do think the one thing that they have got right with this Master is it is about one-upping. It is about making sure that, he's ahead of the game in some sort of way. Of course, he never is.
It does feel like a game of cat and mouse. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, that's one thing that I think they've got right. I wasn't that big of a fan of John Sims' Master. I know a lot of people are. But can you imagine if it was Derek Jacobi?
Yeah, Derek Jacobi.
He had that cunningness, he had that suaveness, he had that... be using his like you said, using his brain to think of his. Well, you saw about 5 seconds of him, but even that turn to camera was perfect.
Yeah, but also he was such a nasty piece of work.
That's the thing,
and that's what I want.
That's how it's meant to be, isn't it? It's meant to be just. It's not about, like I say, it's not about killing off all these geezers. It's just about being someone who's that intelligent, probably arguably more intelligent than the Doctor, and just wanting this whole world where he can control and have it as his.
Master wants to take over the universe.
Yeah, but go back to basics. Go back to where it is them to sort of swashbuckling. I wasn't a massive fan of the whole James Bondish thing, but I loved it at the same time. It was really, really weird. Just because I know that everyone agrees with this, but John Pertwee.
Oh, I love Pertwee. Sorry,
I know you do. But Pertwee,
be careful.
I would never in your presence, Ian. But those two, as a pair, were perfect. And if you can get anything like that back, I would absolutely love it. But yes, sorry, to answer your question, Dan, even though I went off a massive tangent. Yes, I do love Sasha, and I do think he's got the chops for it, as you say, and I do think he is wonderful. Yes, I wish they got rid of the whole, like when when he's on the plane, he's just like, I've been having so much fun. Nah, don't need that bit. I just need you to be smart and be the person that is constantly trying one more.
That's all coming in Doctor Who: The Power of the Doctor sometime next month. Jodie Whittaker, Mandip Gill, what's his name, John Bishop, whoever he plays, they'll be in it. Bradley Walsh, whoever he was, he's in it as well. Oh God, all that's coming, and so are Daleks and Cybermen. The Cybermen are back. So we've got a quote here from Chris Chibnall, a very tiny quote. So all these companions are back. They'll be helping the Doctor fight on 3 fronts against her deadly enemies: the Master, the Daleks, and the Cybermen, in one huge story. And Matt Strevens, who's the executive producer, I wouldn't know him if I wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup. He just described it as a really good send-off. So that's
really good send-off.
Bloody hell, Matt! Is that the best you could do?
They've got everything. They can't have everything. People are saying, "Oh, we want more of this." I actually don't. I want you to strip it bare because you cannot do that much in 90 minutes. It is impossible. Even if you were the god of creating good telly, you still couldn't do it, in my opinion. And I genuinely am terrified. Yes, I'm happy to see Ace because she's a bad bitch. Okay, I'm happy to see Tegan because she's one of my favorites. I know you're not a massive on her, Charlotte, but I think she's great. But yeah. That's fine, and I love that. And yes, I did do a little squeal when I saw Race because, like I said, I think she's great. But I would rather have a great story than bringing back all this fan service. I don't need it.
I agree.
Well,
totally
the word is that there's going to be a lot more. This is just a tease, really, of the content of Doctor Who magazine number 582, which was published today. There's 5 interviews in there. One with Sacha Dhawan. Another with Janet Fielding, one with Sophie Aldred, one with Patrick O'Kane, who's coming back to play Ashad, the lone Cyberman. That character, who I thought was quite a good character. Yeah, I quite liked him from Series 12. Just, again, wasted. And the production designer, the costume designer, Ray Holman, who was responsible for Matt Smith's beautiful outfit and Jodie Whittaker's monstrosity. So we've got swings and roundabouts there. That's in the shops.
So right and so wrong.
Right, I know, beggars belief. Doctor Who magazine 583 is published on the 13th of October, and that's teased as a special deluxe edition. They mean it's going to cost you about £10 to get your hands on that when they say deluxe. No other details have been given. It'll probably come in one of those silvery bags. Have you seen those, Shaw? Or one of those card envelopes. You can't see what's in it until you've put down your tenner or whatever else. Expect that whenever, probably in the week before the special itself comes out. We haven't got an air date yet for The Power of the Doctor. All we know, it's confirmed to air sometime in October during the BBC's. It's not. No, this is from Whovian Fanbase. This is a bit of fan art from Whovian Fanbase. There's a little watermark there. So all we know is it's going to air as part of the BBC's week-long celebration of their centenary. So I think that begins on October the 18th. So it's the centenary of them getting their charter. Keep watching and keep following Type 40 and Type 40 Live for what we're going to be doing, our coverage of the entire event. Yes, in for a penny, in for a pound. I've watched every single episode of this car crash. I'm going to see how it ends.
Me and Dan
are going to have.
Me and Dan have agreed we're going to have a therapy session privately.
Hold the line. Yeah, that'll be the after show. It'll be us just crying. What's left by the end of it? Yeah, Kelly says there will be great rejoicing when Jodie is finally gone. You are not kidding, my friend. Vanessa says that, Dan, we need a trigger warning if you're going to talk about this. Yeah. I'd rather talk about it once and get it out of the way. This is the thing. And whilst we're not entirely certain what we're going to do or when we're going to do it, we'll make sure it's a bloody good show and a great conversation. So if you don't want to miss that, what have they got to do? What have they got to do, Charlotte? Do you remember what they got to do?
They've got to press that lovely subscribe button. And we like likes as well.
Well, they're going to ring. They're going to ring something as well.
Oh, they've got to ring the bell. Sorry, I'm not
the bell.
This.
You've got one shot.
You've got to ring the cloister bell, haven't they, to get the notifications about what's coming and when it's coming here from the Spacebook channel and Type 40 and Type 40 Live, with our panel full of companions and live chat full of more wondrous Doctor Who fans from across the regenerations and generations. It wouldn't be the same without any of you. Part of me, I mean, I can't wait for it to be over. Don't get me wrong, but I'm looking forward.
Like doing a marathon, doesn't it? And then we're so close, we can see the finish line, and it's so close, and we're just about to run through it.
It'll be a lot easier when I've got a support on that bombshell. Yeah, it'll be a lot easier with the support work. We've got one another. That's how I look at it. Okay, let's head into the final segment now. Yeah, let's get into it. Why do we do it? Well, we do it all for the love of Doctor Who. I mean, we enjoy each other's company, don't get me wrong, and we love your conversation too, all your comments, and comparing and contrasting our takes on various aspects of this modern mythology, of this nearly 60-year-old sci-fi and fantasy TV show and cultural phenomenon. That's why we're here in the Type 40 Live. The Type 40 Live.
Oh.
Where's my picture gone? in the Type 40 live console room. I don't know where it is. Okay, so it's Pretty Pictures time, everybody. How are you fixed for time, Charlotte?
I'm going to have to go now. I literally was about to say.
God damn it.
No, I had to leave a tiny bit earlier tonight. I did tell Dan beforehand.
Yeah, she did say, yeah. Yeah, but meanwhile, we're going to take a look at some Pretty Pictures. Charlotte's going to go off. I'll speak to you again in a couple of days. We're recording something in a couple of days. That's kind of top secret, but it's going to be far from painless. That's coming in. Oh, God, blimey. Yes, so I'll speak to you in a couple of days. Thank you, Charlotte.
It's lovely meeting you, Andy, for the first time.
And you, Charlotte. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's the power of women. The power of women.
Isn't it cozy? Isn't it lovely here at Type?
Are you intimidated?
Yes, I am.
We've got us quaking in our boots. So it's Pretty Pictures time. Pretty Pictures time, everybody, and we get to look at some wonderous sights. The amazing creativity.
I thought the time would ever come that Ian would say, "Where's the diary?"
I miss
Ian
it.
David Diaz, you've got a frigging nerve. So as you may have noticed, months of complaining about it. Yes, Simon Horton obviously is away this time. As we say, we do hope that little Lenny gets back on his little feet as soon as possible. And I can't separate Simon Horton from the Doctor Who. I mean, I do nick it now and again, but generally speaking, I couldn't wrestle that away from under the man's arm. It is there at the moment. He's probably in the smallest room in the house, waiting for him in the small hours, and he'll sort of peel his way through the layers of that, Andy. But yes, so this is the bit where we look at creativity in the Doctor Who fandom, and this one is a three-dimensional one. And I just thought this was beautiful. Terry, you're going to love this. This is from Spacecrafting.
Oh, wow.
You must have seen Spacecrafting on Twitter. This is their recreation, not just of the TARDIS, but of the Jaggeroth spaceship from the City of Death. Okay. Incredible model making. What do you make of this?
Really nice. I've seen the real thing in person in Mike Tucker's office in Ealing Studios, and that's bang on, spot on, brilliant.
It's brilliant.
The colour, it's a sort of really deep black, isn't it, Ian? It looks alien.
I just love models, full stop. I mean, I was watching a documentary today when they were the guy that built the Nostromo and the bottom bit and stuff like that. It's pretty amazing. He asked for 2,000 X-wings and TIE fighters, and he got it as well. So there you go. I love model making. I think model making is really, really cool.
Normally, when you get this close to a model like this, you start to see sort of little spots of glue and things that have been missed or not sanded down properly. But this is just exquisite.
He must have watched that clip thousands of times, because all that detail on there, it's a lot of work, but it's absolutely brilliant. I actually love the TARDIS as well. That's the way it used to look, all battered and stuff. Yeah,
nice and shabby and seen better days.
Yeah.
With the flatter roof and everything. It's going down very well in the live chat here. If you're watching Spacecrafting, because I follow Spacecrafting on Twitter, I suggest you do, particularly if you're a big Blake 7 fan. The standard of his model making and prop building, it's really, really impressive. And he makes sort of special effects shorts as well. And yet people are loving this. Wow, that's very cool. All that kind of thing. An excellent model. That's great. This is going down brilliantly. So if you are watching Spacecrafting, it's more. What else have we got? Yes, so it's funny we should talk about the Master there and the enduring appeal of the Master, because we've got this here. Now I can't quite read this watermark, but Simon, he did send me this. This is a lovely cartoon here, bringing together a great many, not all, but enough. We wouldn't want to meet them in a dark cloister room, certainly. These are the Masters here in cartoon form. There's Derek Jacobi, John Sim, Eric Roberts. We've got Roger Delgado, Anthony Ainley, and Jeffrey, whose name is my favourite Master from The Keeper of Traken. Oh, no, that's Peter Pratt from The Deadly Assassin, because he's got the sash on. Yes. Yeah. So that's a collection of Masters past there, Andy. Are you sort of quaking there? Is it giving you the shivers?
I think some are better than others, but overall the aesthetic is lovely. I mean, the Roger Delgado is great, and Where's Missy though? There's no Missy.
Yeah, and also the snake, the big snake that he turned
that would be
into.
crazy. Yeah, if you had the snake sort of in the back, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Beavers is still my favourite master from the not so much from the Keeper of Throttling itself, but his stuff on the audios, and he's not there either. Neither Sasha's. Yeah. But it's a lovely bit of work there. I think Derek Jacobi looks a lot like Johnny Ball there. That's Still, it's very nice, full of character. I mean, I love this kind. This is the kind of thing that I do, so of course I'm going to like it, aren't I? The tissue compression eliminator, the blaster, and the laser screwdriver. All the gadgets are there, and Delgado giving them the cocked eyebrows, if to say, oh, you guys need all that. All I ever needed was an eyebrow, Terry.
That's right. That's right. That's all he needed. That's all he needed.
Now, you may have noticed that The Abominable Snowman has just come out as an animated edition there from the BBC on DVD and Blu-ray. So that's been reconstructed, hasn't it? Because most of the story is missing, but they have recreated it using animation, and it's on that Blu-ray and DVD in both colour and black and white forms. That's just out now. I haven't watched mine yet, but I can't wait to get cracking on it. And there's the sleeve art to it's fine, it's okay. As always, the fandom has come up with better. And this one's from the Cyber Devil. If you remember, he had a big hit with that T-shirt for Shooty Gatwa a few months ago that Ryan Gosling was seen wearing. And this is his cover for The Abominable Snowman, bringing in so many components of that great story. It's nice, isn't it, Andy? It's nice.
It's beautiful. I mean, you can just tell the love and the passion that's gone into that. I mean, like the hair, like you can tell that there's like a blizzard happening. Do you know what I mean? With all the hair going up, that's stunning. I mean, it does show up. I think some of these professional studios and that the fans create that is beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
It is nice.
Makes you want to watch that story, Ian, doesn't it?
No.
Won't go quite that far.
It's a nice piece of art. It's actually brilliant, actually. So it's really
it could be that a few Doctor Who fans have got this in their Christmas stocking. I know it's quite a long time away, but you know what it's like when we get into September. Suddenly Christmas is bang, it's here, it's right in your face. Peter Harrington says, I still haven't watched this yet. It's Christmas watching for me, so I hope the animation is good. We all hope that, mate. It is the final one in that range, at least for now, sadly. But I've heard mixed reports about it. But as long as it serves the story reasonably well, brings it to life, that's what I want from those. And obviously I want a production that's fit for purpose because I'm paying my money for it. Yeah. But I think it's important that the story translates as well as possible. Earlier on, we spoke a little about Tegan. Tegan's coming back. For better or worse, Tegan's coming back. Got this lovely bit of fan art from Dionysia. This is a regular account that I see on Instagram and Twitter. This is a beautiful piece of Japanese-style artwork there from Castrovalva, where the Doctor is in the Zero cabinet, whilst Tegan and Nissa look somewhat browned off. That they've had to lug him around on the surface of Castrovalva. It's one of my favourite stories from one of my favourite seasons, and I think this is just so full of character. What do you think, Shah? Do you like this sort of anime-style fan art?
I usually don't, but I think that is beautiful. I love it. The amount of time and effort that must have taken. And like you said, you can kind of, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words or whatnot. I think you can make a story out of that completely. So yeah, I love that. I think it's wonderful.
It should have a caption or something, shouldn't it?
It should have something, a comic strip.
What was the style?
I'd say it's heavily anime influenced, I would say, with a touch of Disney princess about it in the colours and things.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Evocative, because this is at the point where they're striding around on the surface of the. It's not a planet. Well, no, it is a sort of planet. It's more of a domain, isn't it? It's all connected to the Master again. He gets everywhere, doesn't he? And I think that Dionysia has captured that absolutely perfectly. A great fan artist. I've been talking to her a little bit about maybe getting her on one of the shows, but she's quite a shy character, so maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But go and follow her, please, on Twitter and Instagram for more lovely art like this. Not just the Doctor Who stuff, but lots of fantasy stuff too. And finally, how could I not end on this lovely bit of fan art here with Her Majesty and the corgis and Big Ben and the open TARDIS door. I think she's got a cup of tea on the go there. That's not a gin. That would have been her. That would have been the Queen Mother, wouldn't it? But there she is, and she's just saluting there. This is from Simple and Madonna or Medora. I'm not quite sure what the account is, but this was sent to me by Simon Horton, and I just think this is absolutely delightful. The Queen. Her Majesty the Queen. She was somewhat notoriously named as a Doctor Who fan. I'm not sure how true that is. I think during the 60s she used to watch it with Prince Edward. I think that's the story, that he watched it as a boy and that she loved watching it with him. And then when it came back, it was such an instant sort of hit that when she requested physical media copies of productions from the BBC, that Doctor Who was in that list. So she wouldn't have requested it if she didn't like it, Ian.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, she's been in it a couple of times, hasn't she?
She hasn't.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor. You remember that one? That was fun.
Voiced by Jessica Martin. Yeah. I just think this captures the Queen so well. What do you think of this, Terry? I know you're an artist as well.
It's very cute, yeah. I think it's obviously it's good timing for a piece of art like that. Whether it's been hit with a backlash like so many other things to do with the Queen this week. So yeah, at least somebody made the effort to draw something, I guess. Yeah.
It's just nice, isn't it? It warms the cockles, at a time when, because it has been a very somber week, hasn't it, out there? And so to see something like this, a little kiss back and a wave from the Doctor Who community, the ever creative Doctor Who community, to Her Majesty the Queen. There, it's I like that kind of thing, and I'd like, if I can find out exactly who's created that. That would be great. So if anybody watching along on YouTube or Facebook knows the name of that artist, please let us know, and I'll make sure that's in the show notes too. And as always, if you're a fan artist, or you know of one that we may not have heard of, we may not have come across on Instagram or Twitter, or who has an Etsy shop who still just sells maybe cute things, let us know. Get in touch. Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who, because we'd want to see it all. We want to promote it all for them and maybe have a chat too. A lot of them are very shy, but yeah, just get in touch. Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who. We want to get behind all fan artists and any side to Doctor Who creativity as we hit that 60th anniversary year. Let's have one last look in the live chat and see what people are saying about it.
Oh, sorry if anyone can hear my dog, by the way. She's barking at probably something that's a speck of
well, she's barking at the corgis there, quite obviously.
Possibly.
Yeah, I'd say so. Peter Harrington says corgis in the TARDIS. Oh, the mess. Cam says, God bless her. She was a fan. We'll not see her like again. No, we won't.
We have Charles now.
Hello all, says King Roy. Hiya. Yeah, you need to. I know you need to do some time traveling of your own. You need to hit the rewind button there and go back right to the beginning of the stream, and you can enjoy this last couple of hours with us here at Type 40 Live. But welcome to the channel. Brilliant. That would be a good greetings card, says Tony L. And God save the Queen, says Lord Thoth. Beautifully put. I think that about wraps us up for the evening. We've covered quite a lot of ground on this. We've brought ourselves bang up to date with all things Doctor Who. It's been good to have you aboard, Andy. This has been your first time on the big live stream like this. Yeah. But if people want to get in touch with you, connect with you on social media, or hear your thoughts, not just about Doctor Who, but geeky entertainment generally, where can they find you? You've got a YouTube channel, haven't you?
I do. It's called Atomic Blonde LDN, and that's blonde with an E on the end, as you can see there, because a few people are having trouble finding it. And I'm on Twitter, and it's also the link. Thanks, because Ian told me. Thanks, Ian. It's actually in my Twitter bio now. So I talk about lots of things, mainly kind of what's currently going on. So She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, Cobra Kai, and there's stuff on there over the last few weeks of various different shows. And I'm sure I'll be getting into doing some Doctor Who videos as soon as RTD's back, but I might do some classic stuff as well. But check me out there. Do like and subscribe and share. I really appreciate the support because it's quite a new channel. It's only been a couple of months, but thanks as always to Dan for inviting me on and meeting everybody. So, and thanks, chat. So
thanks for coming. Terry, I understand Congratulations is in order. You've started filming, haven't you? Your film Bloody Students. It's rolling. The cameras are rolling, aren't they?
No.
Oh.
No.
What happened?
No, we shot about for 2 hours yesterday, but it's nothing. It's not part of the film.
You were saying,
So,
isn't it?
No,
To
we haven't
promote it.
started filming. No.
Oh, Rob, it's to promote it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
What you're shooting to promote it. So we look forward to seeing that. You know, that's got to be good, right?
Well, if it ever comes out, yeah.
Oh no! Come on.
You know more, just as much as me. You know what it's like, Ian. Sometimes
I do,
come
mate.
together and they never get seen.
Yeah.
So who knows?
But,
well, if you need any help, Terry, just let me know. I'll
But people can follow the progress of Bloody Students, can't they? Through your blog, and they can support you through Patreon, can't they? Follow you on social media.
No, I don't have a Patreon. No. But
you have got something. You've got a crowdfunding, though, haven't you? I've seen it.
We did have for just for the month of August. That was so. That's
okay.
I'm not really asking for the money now.
If they can keep an eye on you on Twitter. There's a Twitter account for Bloody Students, and they can go and find you there.
And the Instagram account's wicked.
And how about you, Sharp? We know that you're coming and going for the time being, aren't you? We're not.
He's always coming and going.
Quite sure where she's going to.
I'm making a bit of a game of it now, where you're not quite sure where I'm going to be. I have different backgrounds in every single one that I come to.
International Woman of Mystery.
Which I'm still waiting for. So when that's all done, then I'll finally be. But yeah.
Well, we look forward to the.
It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I mean, I'm still active on Twitter and Instagram. My YouTube channel has not been uploaded for such a long time. It is criminal, but I just haven't got the resources to be able to do it at the minute. But as soon as I have, I've got a lot of ideas. I've got a lot of things that I have got coming up. So if you can subscribe and if you'd be so kind to, that would be lovely. Because I have been completely out of it recently, but there's still some good stuff on there, at least I think. But then again, I am biased, so.
Just keep watching and keep waiting. I'm sure that everything comes to those who wait. And Ian, people can see Bad Day on Netflix, can't they?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, thank you. There's a story behind the story on that one, but yeah, it's playing on Saturday. Apparently, I just learned of it today. Actually, that it was out. Keith Isles told me that it was out, and I thought it was a joke personally, and then I text and I went on Netflix and it was there. So
I'll put it on my watch list.
On Saturday. Sorry. You put it on your watch list, did you?
On the watch list, yeah.
I saw your name and I was like,
okay.
Why on earth wouldn't they?
Yeah. Oh, well, I just think I'm going to encourage everyone to watch it. You know, it'd be great if you guys can watch it. So, and it is a good film as far as I'm concerned, but it was made a very long time ago. So there you go. But yeah.
Far too modest for your own good, you are, Ian.
Yeah. I only speak the truth from my opinion and my little world in my head. So
he gets all stuck for words when he has to talk about himself, doesn't he? They can follow him on Twitter. He's at Ian David Dears, the Mega Geek, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter as the Space Book, where I'm wheezing and groaning about all things geeky inside and outside of the TARDIS. Happy to talk and more than happy to hear contrasting opinions too. You know, I may be very, very clear about what I believe and why I believe it, but that doesn't mean that I'm not interested in other people's opinions. And I think that goes for certainly everybody here on the panel tonight. And, I think this is all in the spirit of discourse and the spirit of Doctor Who, and all done for the love of Doctor Who. That's why we do it. That's why we put Type 40 and Type 40 live together. So, yeah, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the cloister bell to get the notifications, and follow us on the podcatchers too. But that's it for this time. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. We'll speak to you all again next time. You take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.